Welcome to the Xmas conspiracy party from Windows on the World. It's been a great year, actually. And the stuff that I've put out this year and we've done on the shows, I think it's the best stuff we've ever done. And we're going to keep that bar as high as we can and keep pushing out stuff that is not only full of facts, but also full of solutions. Indeed, that was one of our shows, The Solution. We put out the protocols of power, the force they fear. And on the website, if you look on there, you'll find the most amazing stuff. But tonight is a little bit different. We're going to have a waffle instead. So people seem to like these, when I have a waffle. And so we've got special guests here. All the names are on the screens. Put your preferences into chat and we'll join in too. So, we were having a bit of a discussion before this started. Janie came on first. And I've known Janie for years. And, there's two Janies. There's Janie Steele and Janie Lee. And I've known them both for quite a long time. I've known Janie Steele for slightly longer than Janie Lee, I think.
Yeah.
And Madeleine, anyone who listens to our show will have seen her. She's backstage with the ABBA tribute band. And Gonzalo, he's got his progressive rock look on. He's very serious tonight. But, he rocks out in a very cerebral way. So I think you two balance each other out, don't you? Madeleine's more the disco. You've got Europop on the left, and we've got like progressive rock on the right, and we've got the glamorous ladies at the top. It's all looking great, isn't it? So, Merry Christmas. Thank you. Someone's just in chat already. This is a bit of a mess about. It's not going to be heavy on information tonight, but there will be information in it. So, Janie Still. When did we meet up? Was this through a talk, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was only about 4 years ago, I think. I think it was that I hired you and Piers and Sandy to come to a show, and then it got cancelled because the premises belonged to the Quakers, and you'd done a bit of research and realised that the bankers actually owned that hall. Do you remember that? So
that was interesting, because the Quakers are a very odd organisation. And they're definitely not a Christian organisation, although they masquerade to be one. They're not a truly Christian organisation at all. And what happened was we were talking about the lack of anthropogenic global warming and what to do, the solution to everything. Of course, they don't like that, these compromised assets. So basically, we were banned at very short notice. And that happened at, ironically, Friends Meeting House. You wouldn't think that Friends could be so full of hate, would you? Evening, Will. Yeah.
And sorry. And then about 4 months later, it was just literally about 2 weeks before we were all locked down, and you came to Hayling Island to do another show with Piers, and it was the worst storm on record. And your sat-nav led you right to the sea.
That was hilarious. That was hilarious. My sat-nav wanted to take me left, and left was the sea. But what made it worse was where it wanted to take me was down a jetty into the sea. And that was hilarious because we couldn't find you because it didn't want to go right. It only wanted to go left, and that was into the sea. And your house was about 500 meters off the shore.
Yeah, that's right.
He was telling us you were in the middle of the sea. Yeah. I remember that night because I was really tired.
Me too.
We sat very late chatting, didn't we? I remember that.
That's right. Yeah, it was fun. We put Piers on the sofa.
Oh, yeah. Well, these Marxists always go to bed early anyway. They're miserable, aren't they? Yeah.
Anyway, not very rock and roll. Yeah.
That's
Citizen, he's not very rock and roll, no. No, he's not very rock and roll.
So we got in just in time before the lockdown.
Yeah, that's right. Because it all happened afterwards, didn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, within a very short time. Janie Lee.
Hi.
Tell us all about yourself, Janie.
Again.
That was a rehearsal. You're not meant to say again either. Don't do that on live television, you know.
What do you want to know?
You mean you've got nothing to say about yourself? You usually have.
Yeah, but, how long's a piece of string? Well, I'm editor of Strand Publishing, and some of the books, the posters for some of the books that we've produced are behind me. These happen to be book covers from our most prolific screenplay writer and author, and also the T-shirt is from Dr. Paul Hobday's book, The Deceit Syndrome. I'm struggling to sell books in this climate when people have got no money. So I'm trying to, get out there and talk about how hard it is as an independent book publisher and for our authors, to get recognised. And we want to talk about the likes of Amazon and people like that. They'll do anything to spoil it for us. They just want to have the whole share of the market. And we're really up against it.
Well, that's the reason I put the Heretics film out just on the website and put it on a download place called Payloads. But they take commission.
Yes.
But I didn't want to put it on Amazon Prime and places like that. And that is the problem, isn't it? Because people just go de facto to these, like the streaming giants as well. They go to these, and the bands don't get paid. No one makes any money.
That's
and
right.
these parasite companies who are using slave labor like Amazon, they control everything. But that's the whole point. That's what Agenda 2030 is all about. Corporations run the world. Dead simple.
Yes.
I
mean, we thought back in the day, we thought we were really innovative because we'd gone all online, the whole thing. And everything landed with me the last time I was interviewed by you, Mark, when you were talking about the Strand, because that's our name, Strand Publishing, UK, and how it was dead during lockdown, and how the whole of the centre of London had just...
That was really creepy. I've never seen London like that before. I went down there during the lockdown. There's a couple of police cars as you entered down to towards Tottenham Court Road, just down there. And then as you got into Charing Cross Road, it was completely empty. And I've never seen Sheiky's, the fish restaurant, the Wyndham Theatre. I've never seen that with nobody. And there was just the odd person looking out the window like, oh, who's that? We never usually see people down here. What's he doing?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
But the thing is, you were saying that, we had an office in the Strand. Well, we did, but it was a virtual office and it cost a lot of money for that address and that telephone number. And in the end, because we're not making any money, I had to say to my co-director, we can't keep this up. This is, ridiculous. So we kept a London telephone number, but we got rid of that address. It just wasn't viable. And anyway, we're doing everything online anyway. We don't need to be in an office. Why do we need somebody else to answer a phone? I can do that, But as you said at the time, well, that's what they want, Jane. They want everything online. And I hadn't seen it coming. I thought we were doing great. This is wonderful. So
That's right. What you should have done was taking that fly pitch at Brick Lane every Sunday. Be rolling in it now, girl.
Well, the thing is, you just touched a nerve in me.
Yeah.
That hasn't gone away, and actually, it nearly finished me.
I'm sorry about. This is meant to be a Christmas party. We're talking about.
I was thinking, because
it's very serious, folks.
We were talking in the green room, weren't we, about why people haven't woken up. I hadn't woken up.
Really?
I didn't know. I was being led by the nose down this tunnel by these people who want to control the world. Now I'm in the group. A, I'm an old woman, so they want rid of me because I'm a useless eater, according to.
Oh.
And B.
I never thought that.
What was the B?
Only you know that.
Yeah, the fact that they want rid of small to medium enterprises, which we are.
Yes.
And we're never going to get off the ground. I don't know how to make this business work other than funding it myself from my pension, if you like. I mean, these products, look at this wonderful big book.
That is actually very good. That the deceit syndrome is by Dr. Paul Hobday, who was a GP for what, 35 years?
Yes.
Yeah.
This one is a history book. It's a walk through history.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you see, that this is, we were talking about this before. The NHS is something people just disengage from for some reason. Yet it's something that they probably all need in the end. But I just found there was no interest in it. And I said, look, it's already been privatised. This has already been done. That's been done. And I did loads of shows on it, you know.
Yeah. Well, Paul Hopday tried everything. He tried everything even when he was a GP. All his life, he said he has been interviewed by all sorts of people. George Galloway, I would say, was the best. But because he kept it tight and to the point.
Yeah, it was a short one, wasn't it? Yeah, it was good.
And serious at the same time. And Paul was saying, I qualified as a GP the year Margaret Thatcher came to power. And the whole of my working life, the NHS has been under threat. But people haven't seen it because they've been salami slicing, bit by bit by bit.
Well, it's a bit like everything. There's the cover story and the real story. When people go there and they see NHS on everything, they think that's the real story. But the cover story is there to see because it's all been bought out in partnership with. But even from 2005, it was already privatised. The privatisation was already in there. Balfour Beatty were privatising the new hospitals. They were leasing them back to the NHS. So the whole thing's going to be sort of destroyed, and they built the American system with private health system. It's already built, so that's already in. And that's the thing, really. I think it's more how you react to what's going on in real time, which is why I found the whole thing really interesting, rather than, oh, it's really depressing. Because most of this sort of media stuff, it's all about the problem. I'm only interested in the solution. Been looking at this is how it works for 20 years. Look, keep looking. Oh yeah, I've got it now. I think I've got pretty much how it works. So I'm really happy about that now, because it was doing me head in a bit, to be honest. You know.
It's through marketing as well. I mean, I've been in NHS since 2016, and I was thinking, I've joined the local campaign. I've marched through the town. I've marched through London. What more can I do? And I thought, well, I've got a publishing company. I can publish a book. All I need is
just keep putting it out there.
And the thing is, Paul's book is when they take down the internet, when they choose to and everything.
God, this is really up this, isn't it? I wasn't expecting it to be this this joyful this evening. No, I thought, let's have a bit of a laugh for a change.
Yeah.
People said, "Oh no, Mark, your stuff's great, but you just do a bit more comedy. We really like it, So sorry about that, everybody." Guitar Adventures, Tony Cooper. Tony always puts good posts up. He says, lefties still blame Thatcher for every wrong to this day. That's true, that, isn't it? It's like we say all those punks go, it's the Tories. If you're not a lefty Marxist idiot, you're a Tory.
Really not only the punks, Mark, the prog rockers as well, etc. The hippies, they all blame the Tories all the time. That's what they do.
That's right. Yeah. Well, you live in a place where Margaret Thatcher's statue is, don't you?
Yeah. We had a book signing in September, and we took the opportunity to go and do a short little interview and a cut-skill photo opportunity in front of the statue. They couldn't. I mean, my next door neighbour has the cameras. He's got the security gig for that statue. And
well, that must be a really fascinating thing to do all day, wouldn't it? What are you going to do today? I think I'll sit here and look at that statue on my camera at home. Has anyone gone anywhere near it?
Okay.
Well, not for 3 weeks, but you never know. There could be a terrorist attack any minute. It's bikini black over here. We're expecting it incoming. It's like, put Peter Power in charge of it. The bloke who did the training for 7/7. Yeah, get Peter. Well, on the ground, our reconnaissance says, and we have it from a very good source, that the statue is under direct threat at this very moment. Yeah.
Comedy.
Well, of course, that's what we're here for, isn't it? We're not here to be doom and gloom tonight,
No.
People with books and anyway. Yes.
Yes,
Well,
I'm just having a look at some of these comments. Yeah, we've got Amazon was a DARPA algorithm that Bezos is the front man for. Yeah, that's true. What else is there?
Alex Jones, you sound like Mark now.
Well, you keep up, Gonzalo. We're quite quick-witted on here, you know. Yeah, I know what it is. You've been doing too many jams for freedom.
Exactly.
I'm just trying to read the comments because I've got this little light in front of me and it's hard to see the screen. So I'm just having a look what people say. You've got people like Nigel Farage, who I normally have a lot of time for, but he keeps pushing for privatization of the NHS. It's already privatized. We've done that, been there, bought the T-shirt. The next thing is don't go in there because it'll be probably the last thing you ever do, you know. But someone's put a thing, cat. Yeah, okay. Keep them coming, folks. Keep them coming. And yes, Janie, it's very important to keep the books out there and the website. Tell us the website, strandpublishing.co.uk. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, people should buy that book actually, especially the Deceit Syndrome. You've also got Christopher Chance, haven't you?
Yeah, Christopher. He has just finished a trilogy, Caravan Shell trilogy. So the 3 books are Caravan Shell, Lone Brit on 13, and Satan's Arena.
Well, I think we better give a bit of a backstory there. Christopher was a naughty boy. He got done for basically drug smuggling because he needed to raise a few quid, you know, as you do. So he put some drugs in a boat, got nicked, and he ended up in the worst prison in Spain. That's the precursor to the story, isn't it, Jane? I think.
Well, yes. Most of the time he was in prison, he was actually he hadn't been convicted of anything. He was just awaiting trial. And they moved him from one prison to another for various different reasons. And I think he's actually been in about 13 different prisons in Europe. He said he thought he had a bit part in Papillon and Les Miserables because the conditions were just so appalling. And the people that he had to share that environment with, you know, most of them were horrendous. And to keep his sanity, he kept a diary, as a lot of writers do, and that formed the basis of his books. So his initial books were non-fiction about his experiences in prison, but then he's gone on to write Assassin's Code, which is like fiction based on fact. Everybody in that book actually dies. Most of the people in that book he's actually met. Then he has written Beneath the Poppy Fields, and actually that's the one we want to bring to the attention of film producers, because it's a fascinating book about the tunnelers who tunneled underneath the Somme in the First World War. And very little has been written about them. A little bit by Sebastian Faulks in Birdsong. Towards the end, he talks about the explosions. And but yes, Christopher has written a fascinating book, and actually, because his grandfather was a miner and he died during the Battle of the Somme, that was what prompted Christopher to write that. But all of his books start off with screenplays. And you said to me, Mark, that actually takes some discipline. And
definitely. No, he's a very good writer. Yeah. I mean, the thing is that the story that he's got is very interesting, you know, especially what happened to him in prison. But you haven't told us that bit. You haven't told us how he had to fight people off with his martial arts skills and doing his kung fu and all that.
Well, he reminded me, he said, you brought up the fact the other day we should do a video about the Etta Girls, Etta Ladies. There's a chapter in the book called the Etta Ladies. Yeah, Chris was running his own martial arts schools. He's ex-army, ex-publican. Then all through his adult life, he was training in martial arts. And he's a 4th black belt. I probably haven't said it right. 4th Dan.
That's the bit you missed out, yeah.
had to use that. He had to use his martial arts skills to defend himself against some of the most hideous people in prison, almost on a daily basis. And he never for 1 minute, he knew he'd done wrong. The guilt landed with him the very first day when he was taken into prison. But when he walked out into the yard, he hardly saw another white face. There were people from all over the world. He just said, all right, well, I'm a foreigner here with a whole load of other foreigners. He said, I never thought that they would be my enemy. But they were. A lot of them were. And they would come at him with what he describes as a pinch trowel, which is like a stabbing implement made from an animal leg bone. And they would carve something into the end at the spike end and dip it into rat shit or human feces or anything, you know.
God, this is welcome to the Christmas show, everybody. I mean, yeah, it's a.
Well, the Etta Girls, those women that he was in a La Moraleca, I think it was, and they had a women's wing. And Chris, because of his martial arts, had in most of the prisons he was given the job of, he was in charge of the gym. And anyway, these girls came on a Saturday, women from all walks of life from that women's wing came to the gym. But these Etta women who actually, they were very happy.
I don't know what that noise is, but we can't hear you.
It's not me.
Oh,
I don't.
That's strange.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's all your Gonzalo.
It's me.
It is. He's trying to do a piano concerto to accompany with it. You got to get the mood right, you know. Then the Etta Girls came in. Have a -7th there.
I mean, the thing is, so much in this book, Satan's Arena. In one of his books, one of the prisons, the first one, Carabanchel, he wasn't allowed to train terrorists, Etta terrorists, the men, and so he was quite surprised.
Well, I don't know.
When women came along, that in this newfangled prison, that he was allowed to do that. In fact, the guards laughed at him when he said, "They're Etta, you know, can't you handle them then?" sort of thing. I'll come and help you later. And so he said, anyway, got on with it, and they were faced with the same problem because they were in Spain. Etta are trying to fight for their particular homeland, their bit within Spain. They hate the Spanish, and the Spanish hate them. So there's tremendous.
I think Gonzalo should come here and give us his insight in this.
It's a very small
situation.
a very small minority, actually, Jane. A very small minority. I mean, for example, again, they try to kind of disrupt countries like they done with Yugoslavia as well, Soviet Union, into tiny little countries, actually, little regions to be independent. I think it's good. Like in the UK, you got the Irish, the Welsh, the Scottish. So in Spain, you got Galicia, where I come from, which is kind of Celtic, similar to Portuguese language, the País Basque. But to start dividing the whole country into little nations, that will make the country disintegrate into a very small economy. That's what they want, actually. That's the plan of the elite.
Well, you've got to wonder who actually funds a lot of these terror groups anyway.
Exactly.
Because, you know, when you look at Operation Gladio and these kind of things, I mean, you don't really know who these people work for. And especially when they start to get international status, then that tells me that they've already been infiltrated. Because if you've heard of them, well, that means that they want you to hear about them. So there's something behind that. That's quite interesting anyway, Janie, but I think we need to move swiftly on, because someone said here, I've not heard the other two guests speak yet. Well, they see it's a round table sort of discussion. But we've got into the horrors of Spanish prison, the drug smuggling and training terrorists. I think maybe we should lighten it up a little bit, Janie. What do you think?
Maybe.
Death of the NHS. Yeah.
Mark, I thought it was
Yeah.
just like an introduction. That's why I just spoke for about 2 minutes. I thought we just
Yeah, I know that's what it was meant to be, really. But Janie gave us the full Monty of the of Strand theirs, which was quite good. So Madeline hasn't spoken yet. So Madeline, yes, you're backstage, and this just reminds me of being at one of my gigs, actually. You know, getting a dressing room. You know, the ABBA tribute finished 10 minutes ago. You're on. You're on. You know.
Yeah, I love theater. You know, I work in the theater for so many years. I love this kind of, you know, interior.
Amorous kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, and it's Christmas. It's Christmas. We all should have some kind of decoration behind us.
Exactly.
Not in here.
Christmas.
Yeah.
I did think of it. I keep getting told it's pagan, so I didn't celebrate.
Oh, yeah.
You said this is a Christmas show, and I can't see any Christmas tree behind you. I'm the only one actually celebrating.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of celebrating, but in my own mind, you see, because I find that sitting in a darkened room with just one focus of light really does does a lot for my sort of presence of mind. You know, that's my excuse anyway.
You're actually doing what Boris Johnson was asking everyone to do, to switch the lights off in solidarity with Ukraine.
Well, just imagine it's a little log fire, you know, and I'm just talking around the log fire. That'd be okay, wouldn't it? You know, that'd work.
Yeah.
But no, it's I'm just in a flat that I rent this apartment. There's nothing really in it apart from a bed and a desk, you know. But I do like austerity. I'm getting myself ready, you know. Own nothing and be happy. So I'm pretty much there. I've got no money. I'm living in an empty room. You know, I've given everything up, you see. It's like but what this is all about, you see, it's the monastery of the mind. That's what it's about. No distractions, you know.
That's true.
Total focus at all time.
You know, the not having anything and be happy. So I don't know what we are doing really, because you know these people are desperate to be happy, and why don't we just help them? We should just forget about everything, concentrate on the World Economic Forum and the others who are desperately trying to be happy without nothing. Just take everything from them and just leave them on some kind of island and just let them be. You know, they can just.
Well,
this is their idea about life, so we're not stopping them. We should take everything what they own. Just make them happy with this new year, 23. Just make them happy. You know, that's what they want.
Well, in a way, they're already doing that, aren't they? Because they're outside jurisdictions. A lot of them have places in Switzerland. Yeah, they move around all over the place whenever they want. So yeah, I suppose so. But yeah, the incoming austerity. I mean, I'll tell you what, this cost of living crisis, this latest stage thing, even where I am in Bulgaria, the food's really expensive. Went to a supermarket today.
Yeah, well,
it's like through the roof, even here, you know.
Yeah, even in Tesco's.
Yeah, Asda, Sainsbury's.
Yeah.
Spain even more, Mark, and I think Greece as well.
Really?
Right?
Greece is very expensive, but I mean, the thing is that Bulgaria, everything's cheap here. I mean, you know, you can rent a flat for £100 a month, but I've just spent like 96 leather, and I've just got a few tins of chickpeas, a bit of tuna, and half a pound of steak. You know, it's like, and a few other bits. Like, what? That's a bit mad, you know. And so it is. It's incredibly expensive. Yeah. Yes. So yeah, Madeline. Yeah, we were going to talk about the infiltration groups that are all happening at the moment, because I think that'd be a good time, and also to make light of it, because you've got these sort of fake revolutionaries coming now. It's all starting to appear everywhere, isn't it? Let's take over the town halls. There are buildings, you know. That's all happening. The fake revolution. I mean, everything about protest in the UK is fake, isn't it? I mean, no one actually means it. You can tell that, right? So, it's either take a banner out, or then, let's pretend that we're going to take over council buildings. That's all happening, isn't it?
You know what they do? They only, you can tell these people what to do for a month and months and months and months. They're not doing this. They're doing something completely different to do destruction. And whatever is happening, and they're trying to sabotage the real movement. and not really making big effort. They're only changing words on the yellow boards. They just erase the previous one, put some new words, and go again with the same yellow board. So this is what's happening for 2 years. That's the revolution. They just practically just changing the things what they have on the yellow board. A revolution, another thing, people don't really understand what the revolution means. And
No.
I think it's very important to just say, and let's
That's
just finish this year with explaining one thing. We don't need revolution, because revolution is what they do.
The World Revolutionary movement is them. The word revolution is theirs.
Exactly.
The word community is theirs. When you see community and when you see revolution, it's them doing it to you, not you doing it to them.
Yeah. French, Russian Revolution is all controlled. That's right. Yeah.
Well, the thing is that that show I did last Sunday framed all that. Agents of Revolution. And it's half an hour long. All the information's in there. But people still get distracted onto issues of absolutely no importance. And a friend of mine phoned up today and he's sort of exasperated. He plays in these bands doing Irish music and he just can't believe that his friends have turned out to be the way they are. I said, well, leave them behind. I mean, I can't see the point now of all these people going, oh, I'm trying to wake them up. It's like, I'm trying to wake them up. I'm trying to wake them up. And say, well, how much abuse do you need? How much gaslighting are you going to take?
I mean, what can I tell?
Yeah, Gonzalo, sorry.
What can I tell you about them, Mark? I mean, they are all, even if they are agreed, then they all have the vaccine. They all ended up doing what they want, and there's no point. They say, oh yeah, it's all nonsense, but then in the end, they all fall for the kind of indoctrination at the end of the day. But 90% of musicians, 95%, forget it.
Someone's put a really depressing comment into chat. They said, well, at least it's better than the UK column Christmas party. Oh my God. I mean, you're setting the bar on the floor there. Do you know what I mean? We can't get any lower than that, can we? I mean, UK column Christmas party. Bloody hell. Oh, dear me. Yeah. But it's a very important point now.
Going back to this, to the people actually listen to this crap. This is just unbelievable because the crap is getting worse and worse to the point when you can't even laugh on this anymore. It's just not funny. It's tragic at the moment. But there's people who are very awake and they as you said, Mark, they just, why you are there? Because I'm trying to wake up other people. I think this is a kind of addiction now, And honestly, my close friends, very very awake people, they know what's going on. They just can't stop. They can't stop. And I said, look, could you just do this and this and this? Something what we really should do. And next thing, what I'm seeing, they are involved in some completely crap, conversation with some controlled agent. I don't know. Just wake up, everyone. Just wake up. Step out from this. Just step out from.
No, that word "waking up" is just like, it's an embarrassing term. It's like, oh no, don't associate me with that, please.
Yeah.
Let's
step out. Maybe step out. Step out from that.
Yes.
Instead of wake up, step
from
out.
Guatemala. Hi, Mark. Watching from Guatemala. I've given up on my family.
Oh, I love Guatemala.
Guatemala. I know people in Nicaragua. It's nice.
Yeah. Love it.
Proper weather.
Yeah, no, I really like it.
Sometimes it rains a lot, but it's very hot.
But Madeleine, this waking people up. I told them so long ago about the travel restrictions coming, and now we've got 15-minute neighbourhoods. But people think that's just coming overnight. But in 2015, they were discussing it in the World Economic Forum. There's a fella called Carlos Mondiro. He was talking about it in 2015. You will have a 15-minute neighbourhood. The WEF speak, and you will enjoy it. Just as Mark always says, you got your Tesco's and your gym. Mark's always
mini
saying
Tesco. What more do you need?
Yeah, and they're saying it over and over again. But now it's here. It's being implemented in every single city in the UK right now.
Yeah,
we're only hearing
they're really going for that one, aren't they? They're really going for the lockdown.
They've got to. Yeah.
I just put an article out, and it's got an article from 2014. In that article, how to oppose low traffic neighbourhoods, because we put it out there, but it gets put in all these groups. It either gets deleted or completely ignored, or banned. And so I don't understand why people keep going back to their abusers. Look, let's get on the Telegram group. Let's get on Facebook. Why? Why don't you just go meet down the pub, plot something, that is going to be really bloody successful and get on with it. You know,
they go in circles. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. The distraction circle. You know,
Well,
it's like, oh, yeah, it's like, oh, but he works in the government and he's really speaking out.
Yeah, Roger Waters is one of us. Yeah, Roger Waters as well. Yeah.
Oh, don't bring him into it.
These people talking about the control opposition without knowing that they are controlled, right. And they actually are controlled to the point to talk about the control opposition.
That's right. What they do is they always do it with there's this new age prat, right? And he comes on. I posted something on that Facebook about 2 months ago. He goes, Mark Windows is a known shill. I'm thinking, wait a minute, that means I'm getting paid. I better check my bank account. No, nothing going in. Checked it the next month. No, nothing going in. Maybe I know what. They must be putting it in a crypto wallet. I'll have to get one of them. You know, I mean, it's
exactly.
Like, yeah. And they've turned up about 5 minutes ago, these idiots. They talk a load of new age garbage. A lot of them smoke joints while they're doing these bloody things as well. You know, absolute wankers, you know, top degree tosspots of the first order.
And they become like trolls at the end. They are no kind of...
They are trolls. They are trolls because if you've got something really good, they don't like it anyway.
Yeah,
if you've been doing something for 25 years and got good at it, they're jealous because they can't do it. And that's all it is. It's a bloody waste of time. It's energy harvesting, you know, complete energy harvesting.
Yeah.
Mark,
let's have the latest distraction. Yeah.
Mark, can I ask everyone a question?
Please.
I don't want to get serious, but since this more so since this COVID BS started, the people I've been led to that are completely fearless of what's going on, I mean, truly fearless, I've just been led to links and they all just happen to be devout Christians. Now, is that just coincidence?
That's what I was talking about, the proper force, not the church, but people with a proper belief system, you see. Now, the thing is that that show, the force they fear, was a complete revelation to me because it actually went to the root of everything. And that's what you do. You have to get to the root of everything. And and still, you know, I try and frame it as though it's a system that they're working in, you see, Janie. You see what I mean? So they're adhering to a certain system. Well, if they're scared of something, that means it must have power, right? Because they've got a lot of power. So if they're scared of something, it must have a lot of power. So why are they scared of it? Let's look at this. And then you find out that there's a good reason for that. But yeah, that is a good point. I mean, but also to get to that point, you have to live properly. And most people aren't living properly. They're pissing about on the internet, playing around, thinking, oh, yeah, loads of people are waking up. You know, oh, this one's speaking out now. Fantastic. It's going to expose them all, you know. And they're living in a little bubble in their own minds, doing absolutely nothing and actually missing anything that's of any real importance.
Exactly.
And that's the point we're at, isn't it?
Yeah, and what made me even more interested in the Christians is because this Noah Harari and all these transhumanists, they are so anti-God.
Totally.
I mean, and when
they say Christ is fake, right? Yeah.
That's so, well, they think they are the new gods, don't they? But
well, actually, no, they're neurotic. They have no real courage, but what they have is what they call chutzpah, you see. But there's nothing underneath it, and that's what you find with this stuff. When you get to the root of what it's about, it's like finding out about that stuff that we've been putting out. Because I think the shows that we've done over the past year have been the best ever, really. Because it's made me focus properly. You know, Jane, it's like, it's focus, isn't it? Focus on what you actually want to say before you say it. And make sure every word counts. You know, I mean, then they pass around all this rubbish on social media. The latest film, oh, this is exposing everything. What do you mean it's exposing everything? You knew it in the first place. They're just telling you what you already knew and making you feel good about it, you know. Well, I'd rather know something I didn't know You know what I mean? It's like, and then they go, oh, they're not interested in that because it's not part of the conspiracy circus. Let's pass the It's like, like pass the parcel. It's like pass the distraction, pass the distraction.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. You take another layer off, pass it on, and let's see who's left with it, And then I don't want it anymore. It's rubbish, this one. I want another one.
But they don't care what we know because their agenda's so far down the line in their eyes that they don't care if we know what they're doing. They couldn't give it.
Totally.
No.
They are into New Age and high conscious and keep on meditating.
Well, that's a different thing altogether. I mean, they're a part of. You've either got these ones who are the fake revolutionaries with their little signs and that, or you've got the New Agers, and they cross together. And the ones that are doing both are even worse, aren't they?
Yeah.
You think,
and fake Christians, because this is another thing. It's just so many fake Christians. This is something what they're repeating again. Because as you said, they are really worried about Christianity. That was Christianity was always their target, always in the past.
Yes,
it's the same
it is
people.
The target.
They always, it is the target. But because it's the target, they're also trying to use it for themselves as a cover. So many Christians which fooling people, as for under the Christianity umbrella. And they ending up in some very strange kind of churches when they decide we're just going to sit here and do nothing because God come and He will resolve everything. So they're stopping people from being active. And the same happened in the past. I actually witnessed that. When I was in Poland, when the same people who was practically signing the death sentence to the nation, when things started to change, they become Christians. They was just going to church. They was just, I always want to go to church. I always was Christian, but I wasn't allowed. And this is not true. They're just playing.
Yeah, well, it's got part of the infiltration because obviously, it's like what they did with the church. They've completely watered it down. So the actual Church of England has no meaning anymore. So it doesn't have. It's not actually a church body. It's just basically a bunch of change agents who've compromised, sold everything out, and don't stand for anything. That's the point. They don't stand for anything, so they don't have anything to stand for. So therefore, they are truly infiltrated. And this fake Christian thing is quite interesting because years ago, when they wanted to infiltrate groups, they pose as Christians. And they because they think that they must be really honest if they're Christians. And that stupid bloody one who brought in that troll that harassed me for years. He was a Christian. He kept like, I'm a Christian. And he kept saying it about who's that? Well, people out there might know, but I'm going to do a show on it all. I'm going to do a show on it all, and it's going to be called The Conspiracy Theorists because it'll be a really good comedy. And it's about how this infiltration works and doesn't work, more importantly. But we had that with this group. There's a friend of ours going through a big court case, British Transport Police, and he proved that they'd acted completely illegally. He won several court cases. Then all of a sudden, we're at my friend's restaurant, and this woman turns up, who was this Christian, right, and starts sitting with us. And then her mate turns up, Turns out her friend was a convicted fraudster, and I think she'd done a plea bargain. This is another thing they do with them. They do a plea bargain with the police. It's like that recent one, that one who was leading the protest movement who came out of nowhere. Narcissistic sociopath. Later find out, I said to you, didn't I, Gonzalo? Police informer.
Yeah.
And what happens in the end? She's a police informer. Yeah. Oh, what a surprise. You can tell by looking at them. Yeah.
All these idiots kind of very arrogant. Are you mad? Don't be so negative. And they were laughing about it. And now you show them the proof.
Well, quiet.
Yeah, they just
it's funny how they appear and then they get this little following. And when they found out, they sort of disappear. And then they all go, oh, no, there's another one anyway now. So we'll follow them instead. I know that one was rubbish, wasn't it? That one was rubbish. I could see that from the start. She was a shill, it's a shill, It is a comedy, though. The Conspiracy Circus is comedy. And it's just, it is. And they just pass around the latest planted asset until they get sick of it. Then they get another one,
Yeah.
But it's,
But also, also it's a properly scripted comedy as well. Again, this is a
Yes.
scripted comedy by the globalists, because they want this kind of people to represent the opposition, so that you wouldn't, as when you are a real opposition, you have a much lower impact on the general public, because they just consider you as an idiot. You must be one of them because you're saying the same stuff. So this is properly scripted comedy. Unfortunately, they're playing the game.
Someone's just put into chat something quite funny. Martian Magician says, I spent weeks listening to Sasha Stone word salads until the penny dropped. Well, at least the penny dropped,
Finally.
Yeah. Well, it has to, doesn't it? But I mean, yeah. But these grifters have been around for years. They've all been around for years.
Yeah.
And it's incredible, isn't it?
You can see them from mile, Mark. Most of the time I tell you, what do you think of this, Mark? I think it's Doña. You go, yeah, totally right. Like there was one in Spain. She made a great kind of documentary about the Zionism and all that. And she's got 30,000 followers on Telegram. In the end, she throws this big stone. I won't call myself ever a Christian. So what does it have to do one thing with the other? So you can imagine the whole of the Telegram group fighting between each other. They use for idiots.
Right.
Yeah,
that's a tactic, you see. That's counterintelligence.
Yeah.
So what you do is you pose as something. Basically, then you attack the group that we're not allowed to speak of. They attack those. But what they're doing is they're doing the work of that group by saying, by going against the Christian thing. Which that other one does. That one who's always going on about them and telling you all about what they do. But then again, he's going on, Christ never existed. It's all bollocks. You see what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's counterintelligence.
Totally.
So
totally.
This is the thing, and it doesn't really matter. The religious aspect is not important. It's the actual implementation of what they're achieving that's important. So in other words, it's completely and utterly divided and ruled and owned. And you try telling people that and they don't want to hear it, you see. It's like that stupid bloody, the ex-cop. Oh, look, I like it when the ex-cop whistleblower turns up. That's always not again, you know what I mean? Not again, not another energy harvesting waste of bloody time. And yes, it is, I've got my crime number. They're all going to jail.
Yeah. Do you remember, Mark? We should wait for him.
No, it's only going to be another couple of years. Yeah, hang on. We're going to do it. Don't worry.
Mark, can I just I wasn't defending religions in any way. I don't know whether you've heard of the National Council of Churches, or when COVID hit, there was like a cookie cutter program that they sent to every denomination. I'm talking about Buddhists, Sikhs, Mormons, Catholics, Protestants, everyone you can think of. They sent the same letter out, and at the end said, as a devoted flock or congregation, you must get your vaccination. And that was sent out to every denomination.
The UN owned all this stuff years ago. The Council of Churches and all that stuff. I mean, when you look into it, if you look back at that stuff that they were doing in the 70s, it is like something out of a sci-fi movie. When you look at it and read it, and nothing's changed. The word salads have just got more simple. But once you get what they're up to, it's obvious. It's a template, and they never move away from the template because they have no creativity.
That's right.
They have no ingenuity. They have no originality. They are imitators, and that's what they were called, isn't it? The imitator will reign over the earth.
That's right.
But not forever. But the thing is that by people letting them get away with this, all these infiltrators, the next one turns up, the next have-a-go hero that ain't going to do anything, turns up, and they all go, oh, that's good, isn't it? He's speaking down at Margaret Thatcher's statue. Yeah, we hate the Tories. Let's go down there. It's, oh, God.
Yeah. I mean, it was like when Boris Johnson was talking in the parliament, and there was one girl from the Labour Party saying, Boris Johnson is a liar. And all this lot, thousands of them awakening, so-called, she's a hero. She's great. She's one of us. And they don't know if he's going to win. It's going to be worse, actually, with them. They haven't got a clue. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, well, some of the stuff you send me, Gonzalo, has kind of confirmed everything that I knew already, but it's much worse than I realized it was in the first place.
It's getting worse, actually, Mark. Yeah, people, they are completely...
People are very confused. People are very confused, and
Yes.
the other side, unfortunately, is pushing forward as well, because there is some kind of opposition here, and maybe it's not as big as supposed to be, but at least it's solid and it's doing the right stuff. So obviously, it's the other side is going to get upset, and they're pushing their agent all the time. So whenever something is happening closer to the target, they trying to sabotage this, and then when the comedy starts. And recently, Mark was talking about the sheriff. Do you remember the sheriff? They was
now, Madeline. No. You're. I think you're slightly off there. I'll tell you why. Because if we do not regain our own sovereignty, and if we do not take back these buildings, which are lawfully ours, by the way.
It's just unbelievable. And this is adult people actually going there, and they just standing in some lobby of some kind of court. Nobody's listening to them. They're standing there and they're just claiming they are just running the country now.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Well, I sent them an email, and they didn't rebut my affidavit within 28 days. So now they've left office, and I'm going to take their place.
And also, they found them guilty. They also found everyone guilty. That's it. So we do have our freedom. We do. We just don't know that.
I know. I know. I'm a bit negative about it, but I agree entirely. I mean, it's all written down, isn't it? It's like there's a great one actually, and it's like he called him. Yeah, they have. He calls himself Baron. He's dead now. But I think the funny thing is, right, they've got this thing on Facebook. It's like correcting the unlawful legal system, right? And they write about 10 pages of gobbledygook word salad with it's got about 5% of truth in it. But he's made this assumption that because he's sovereign, no one has any sovereignty over him. Yet he's still actually going back into their system to tell them that. This doesn't occur to him for some reason. So what the story is, he went to court over a parking ticket and he won. But then the bad news was he lost his house. It's just like, but we are winning, we're winning.
That's part of the plan. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Property developers behind, probably.
No, it's just the thing that the way that they see things is just incredible, And then you say that's a load of bollocks, and you go, he's a Freemason.
Yeah. When I'm simple things, if you're trying to explain to people simple things, they honestly, people are so confused with all this rubbish what is thrown at them. You remember the other movement when stop paying your bills. How many conversations I had with people, and I just say, do you know what you're doing when you stop paying your bills? You're actually destroying the economy, because people providing you a service. We have to get rid of the third party, not of the people who are working there providing a service. So if you stop paying your bills, these people are going to lose their job. So you're actually making things worse. This simple thing just doesn't go there, It's not.
Or the strike.
No, I saw that. Yeah, that was another major energy harvest, wasn't it? Like, let's start 6 months. Let's start in 6 months' time. It's about that time that I think they're going to protest against the LTNs. Let's leave it till after Christmas. We'll do it in the middle of February.
Exactly.
No urgency at the moment.
Yeah.
But Mark, do you remember that musician from a well-known band, friend of mine? I'm not going to say who he is. And we wanted to invite him about what did he think about the LTN services, the music business going down the hill regarding live music, selling CDs. Sounds interesting. He went and watched Mark's website. He goes, sorry, I'm very busy. He just disappeared. I don't know what he could have seen that he didn't, he felt uneasy about it. But he's like, no.
They're all cowards, those people. We were talking about the fallen idols. I actually wrote a whole kind of, it's like a sonnet on how they've disappointed everybody, how they've let everyone down. But more importantly, they've let themselves down,
Yeah.
And it's like you just think of them, you see them now, you think, oh no, it's them. And you think, well, yeah, but you listen to all their music, and then it's turned out they're a bunch of arseholes, That is a bit disappointing, isn't it, really?
It is. Well, Eric
Yeah.
Clapton and Van Morrison, they've been very brave. They are the only exception with Ian Brown. The rest, I mean, look, I
Yeah.
sent you that article before from Guitar Magazine. They were saying Eric Clapton, he's off his mind to be an anti-vaxxer. He's far right, probably. All kinds of crazy stuff. I mean,
Someone mentioned that said, oh, there was Morrissey as well, but I don't think he counts really. But
Morrissey.
I caught him. Morrissey, not Boris, Morrissey.
No, Morrissey. Yeah.
Morrissey. That'd be good. Wait, Morrissey.
Good
Boris
time for a
Johnson.
band.
I was just saying that I was happy in the haze of a drunken hour, but heaven knows I'm miserable now. You know.
Yeah.
Actually, he could do that, couldn't he? It'd be quite funny doing that, wouldn't he?
Yeah. So what was the other movement this year? What was that was the common law. First, that was the common law. That was very push for. Oh, hold the line. Yeah, that was another one.
Hold the line.
Hold the line.
Yeah. Down.
I bet they're
And
awake.
again, this is something invented in the 70s, and that was a classic communist movement. And there we go. And again, the country not the country, the world actually picked it up. They was holding the line. They was holding the line for a month, and they have their hands busy. They couldn't do anything else because they was holding the line. I don't know exactly what kind of line.
Yeah, the hero cop, ex-security guard, energy harvester said that, didn't he? He kept putting on the bottom of his things, "Hold the line. We're holding it, but it's just getting really tough. I don't think we can hold it any longer. I'm sat in front of my computer talking to my mates, and there's loads of shills on here. I don't know whether we can hold it anymore. It is brilliant. It's really funny, but it wasn't to start with. I found it all quite disturbing about 15 years ago, but now it's just a comedy, and it's just oh no, there's a constant stream of it, and they never seem to get the idea that it's a waste of time. It doesn't occur to them that this is a waste of time.
Not at all. Yeah.
Morrissey, yeah, that's quite, Morrissey. Yeah, Morrissey. It'd be a good tribute, wouldn't it? So Boris Johnson's Morrissey singing all those, because those songs, the words to them actually suit his situation, don't they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Morrissey, yeah.
Quite, yeah.
All the situation for me, I said that before, but for me, imagine, put yourself in my shoes, really. I really live through that, So for me, when I see this, honestly, I'm pinching myself every day just to believe that this is really happening. Because it did happen, every single thing, it happened before. And if I'm trying to tell people, look, I have a crystal ball ready because I predict everything 2 years ago, and I was telling people that. And
they wouldn't listen. That's how arrogant they, and the ones in Spain, I have to say, they're even more arrogant, actually. As you know, Madeleine. We don't need any political party. We just need to get weapons and defend ourselves. I mean, that's perfect for revolution. Exactly, that's right. Yeah, they are happy making their money as YouTubers, and that's it. Basically, they never tell you any solutions. Exactly that's what it is.
Yeah, the talking shop. Well, we're doing a bit of a talking shop tonight, but it's quite a bit of fun, really, and people seem to enjoy it. But I'm so focused on information that I never even thought of doing this. That one we did with Steve Hughes last week was pretty funny as well. We got into some good stuff on there, and it's a good release, I suppose. I mean, you come up with stuff, and it's. I think it's very worthwhile. Boris singing "Girlfriend in a Coma." Boris singing. They're all starting. Boris singing. No, it's just that. In my life, why do I give valuable time to those who don't care if I live or die? It's all very pathos, you see. He could do it, couldn't he? I'll email him and see if he's up for it. Borisy, the tribute. It'd be great.
Have him on your show. Try, Mark. Ask him, if he can take part in your show.
Yeah, we will. And Roger Waters as well, Mark. You should bring Roger Waters, definitely.
No, but he gets £500,000 for a talk now, so I don't think he'll be coming on.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's always that, isn't there? Yeah, I mean,
one of us, though, right?
Yeah, but it's funny all that, really, because there's still the two-party thing. I can't work it out, but people are saying, "Oh no, most people are getting it now. They're getting it now," and you think, "Well, when? What are they? I can't see it."
What are they getting?
What are they getting? Well, at least our Christmas party is better than the UK column one.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I didn't know. I was kind of the irony of that did not escape me. You know what I mean? We'll have to up our game a bit here. Come on. I mean, yeah, Madeline's the only one with a Christmassy thing going on. I know it's a bit bleak in here, but I'm in a very austere country.
I get my keyboard now, Mark. I get my piano. We do some music. Like
I think so. Yeah. Well,
we met doing a gig. Remember, 15 years ago, with David Stark and Paul Whiffen at the Canadian House in Trafalgar Square. Remember?
We met with this scratch band full of chancers, and with a guitarist who didn't seem to know what key the songs were in. Yet we still pulled it off. And me and him were looking at each other, going, "What the hell are these lot doing?" You know? Yeah.
And then he was telling me, Mark, about Agenda 21, 2030, 2007. So I called him in 2020. Is this what you were telling me years ago, Mark? Yes, exactly. This is what I was boring you a lot a few years ago.
Well, that's right. You see, that was the night bus back to Walthamstow.
Yeah, that's right. We
live
live in the same area. That was meant to be, definitely.
Well, so, yes, exactly. But those days of gigs and fun seem to have gone. But you can still do gigs, I suppose. But no one gets paid for it anymore, do they?
No, like it used to be, Mark. That's right. No. Yeah. I
saw. Forget about gigs. Now the money are somewhere else. You know, common law. £450 for a 40 minutes. Do you remember this?
Yeah. And the thing is, I've got all that on my website. I say, there's an article there called Free Man versus Legal Fiction, because we were the first people in the UK to do all that. But the reason people don't know about it is, guess what? Because it doesn't work. I'm not going to go around telling everybody, you know, winning. Well, you know, so I had to invent common law Malcolm because there had to be an outlet for it. There just had to be.
Yeah.
But winning. People pay. They actually, that was hundreds and hundreds of people who went for this kind of courses, and you know, they was trained to be, how they call them, peace officers and whatever. And they actually paid these people £450 per 40 minutes. So you know, Mark, you're doing a completely wrong thing. You know,
I did the wrong thing.
Everything. Yeah.
In my search for ultimate truth, I made a big mistake. I should have been like the Have a Go heroes. You know, I could have been common law Malcolm for real.
People don't appreciate anything if they have this for free. So you see,
right.
If you start charging people.
Mark, I know we're laughing about it, but you met Mark and Gavin, didn't you?
Yes.
Well, right up to this day, they were in the High Court this week. They've been having some really good results using what they know about common law and getting.
What are they trying to achieve, and what's the court case about?
I don't know.
Well, there you go then. So,
they've helped a few friends. No, but I speak to them quite regularly. And they've helped a few friends.
Well, you have to know the particulars of the case, you see, Janie. That's the thing. I mean, when I spoke to them, I gave them a solution to something, but they didn't take that advice, and they could have screwed the council massively. Massively. If the council had tried to enforce the costs that the judge had revoked, that could have been really interesting. But however, never mind. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, if you go into court at lower level, you can still do some stuff, but it depends, because it depends on what you're actually doing. I know for a fact that the courts in the UK now are run under communitarian law. You can be quite lucky with low level things. If it's for a couple of £100 or something like that, you get a nice district judge in, can go very well. But once the bigger things take over in the background, then things change a lot, and that's where it gets a bit serious.
But you said sorry, but Mark said something in quite a recent show about the courts using the Noahide laws. That's even more scary than the communitarian laws.
Well, it is communitarianism. Communitarian is the Noahide law, because if you look who's behind communitarianism and who was advising the American government, these are all people who have dual loyalties. Well, they don't have dual loyalties. They may have dual citizenship, but they certainly don't have dual loyalties. And if you look at, say, I don't want to go into too much on YouTube, but if you look on something like Chabad Lubavitch website, where I get a lot of information from, then the Noahide laws are enforceable. And what that means is that if you do not comply in their eyes, then you can be beheaded. It actually says it on there. They've left it on there. So they take this stuff quite seriously. And playing about in the lower courts is all very well. But once you get into the bigger league, it's pretty scary, because you can easily get found guilty. You can get put in prison for a long time when you've done absolutely nothing. Because even the Crown Prosecution Service, in their own survey in 2017, said 52% of examined cases by HMCTS, the Majesty's Courts Tribunal Services, found that in 52% of all examined cases, essential defence evidence was withheld. That means a jury don't get to see it. And I've seen that in action, and I've seen it predicted from the outcome. And luckily, I had a lawyer who knew the person who was accused, and I told you about this, Janie, when we did that talk that evening. And if he hadn't have told me, the lawyer, off the record, of course, because he couldn't tell the client what to do, things would have turned out very different. And people don't realise that the UK is the most corrupt country in the world. And they go, oh, that's ridiculous. Try it.
Yeah.
Try
More
it.
than Spain,
Because
Italy.
I used to have a Pakistani barrister. He worked for immigration. And he was laughing because I walked in there with my affidavit. And he duly stamped it, which was his duty. And basically, it was a debt collection company called JBW Group, who had undercut all of the other bailiff companies. Their bailiffs were working on fees of £7 for a walk-in possessions order. That's to take someone's stuff, to go into someone's house. They were getting £7 to do it. Okay, a walk-in possessions order. They were given 5 clamps each, and once those clamps had run out, they had to buy them. They were hiring the vans off them as well. So I wrote an article, and I said JBW Group equals highway robbery. It came up above their other website. So they had 3 things about them, and it came up second under their main website. So I get a letter from City Law Firm saying this is this, that, and the other, which they couldn't really prove. And they said, we want this amount of money, $5,000 up front, and then we're going to go to court and all this. Well, I sent them an affidavit, and I got this Pakistani barrister to stamp it. I sent it off. They were going to bankrupt me. I never heard a bloody thing. And the article stayed up there. Because what they're doing is just creating a big front. But you have to know what you're doing. I'm not sure things would go the same way now, because things have deteriorated a lot. But in these civil cases, it's not that serious unless there's property involved. But the courts have been stealing property for years. You see, this is the thing. The theft of property was one of the things that we covered to start with. And the other thing is that when people start talking about this stuff, they often don't give you the detail. Okay, what's the case about? You know, show me what brought the complaint. Show me everything. And you find out that there's 20 people outside a house, and it's some bloody idiot who has stopped paying his mortgage because he thinks it's common law Malcolm. I mean, it's a complete waste of time. You know, you can't enter into a contract, then break it.
Mark, I've got. I can't see me. I mean, can you hear me?
Yes, you've just frozen up. You've got I thought you were looking very intently at me. I thought like this, going,
What's happened?
It looks like you're going, I'm really disappointed now. I thought I had you on the edge of your seat.
Hanging on to every word.
Yeah, bloody hell.
Frozen for about 10 minutes. I couldn't interrupt you. What's happened? I don't like that.
stopping your camera and then starting it again.
Can you unfreeze me, Mark?
I'll try. Well, I'll try, Janie. Yes.
Maybe
Have you been
try to
cryogenically
come
frozen?
out.
Hang on a minute. I'll take you out and I'll put you back in again.
And then start it again.
No,
I think your camera's gone off.
my camera. Okay, let's have a look.
I think you.
Hopefully.
I think. Have you got a plug-in camera?
No, but it's saying connections. Use the camera. Allowed temporarily. What's that?
Oh, you've disconnected your camera. You disconnected
disappeared.
herself now. Yeah, she's disconnected herself. Well, maybe should be back.
Okay.
I thought she was sat there going.
He was
Like
mesmerized, Mark.
But she was bored shitless and I was just rattling on about all this stuff. Oh, it's really funny.
Yeah, I thought she's really interested.
So when I say something, can you all just go? I was really getting into that. It was like, it's like the spotlight's on your windows. Make this good.
Yeah.
Make this focused and make it work.
Father Windows. Yeah, it was right.
She's back. She's back.
Yeah,
back.
there I am.
That was funny, Janie. We're just laughing because you were like this.
Yeah, I can hear
I thought, I've got them. I've got them. It's like, I think, right, the magic's working. I've pulled them in. I've got them.
Mark is inspired.
And she just probably pissed off to make a cup of tea or something.
That was funny.
That was really funny. That was really funny. That's the funniest thing that's happened so far.
It's life. That's the good.
The only thing I
was getting into me Anthony J. Hilda, like, no, they want to kill you. These people aren't joking. They want to kill you. I'll go and have a cup of tea.
I'm going to have a red wine in a minute. Am I allowed? Yeah.
Yes, you are, but I've only got pineapple juice, or as they call it here, ananas. I've got pineapple juice.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quite good. It's meant to be quite
it's an immune
addition.
Yeah, it's an immunity system builder. It builds your immune system. It's brilliant.
Got to be doing that, Janie, because I'm training up them mountains every day.
Are you?
Oh yeah, I'm a survivalist now. I've been living in my van for 3 months. My only friends had 4 legs, scraggy coats, and that was just the women. No, I was living on the beach with all the stray dogs. It was fantastic, beautiful. Have a shower, go and have a swim. Oh yeah.
Why don't you show everyone that horrible thing you showed me and Jane earlier?
No.
That's what our girl said to the vicar. No, that's meant to be.
Why don't you show that horrible thing? Well, wait a minute. Madeline's gone. Oh no, she's there. She's all right. It's just that you've all changed. You've all moved around. You see.
Mark, while you're finding your horrible thing, can I go and get a red wine?
Yes. Yeah. Who wants to take over for a minute? Madeline.
See you in a minute.
Yeah. How are things going anyway?
Yeah, great. Absolutely great. I am full of hopes for a new year.
That's very good, Madeline.
I'm doing what they're doing. I'm doing exactly what they're doing. So, I couldn't get wrong anything really. I'm just following the steps of the agenda.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Well, we know what's going to happen, and we know what to get distracted into. That's the point.
Yeah. So I'm just doing exactly what they ask to do.
Yes.
But in different way, in the proper way.
Exactly.
Yes, well, that's coming out in the shows, you see. So we don't have to talk about any of that because it's all in the shows, 9:30 p.m. every Sunday. Someone's given interference there. I don't know if it's you, Gonzalo, but someone's got a dodgy lead.
I don't know.
Someone's got a dodgy lead, yes. There it is.
Right there.
Yeah.
It's okay?
Yeah, that's better, yeah. can't get this thing to go the right way up now. I don't know whether you can see that, but that's it. Yeah, that thing was in my bed. There's my car keys, and that's a lined pad. So those are about a centimetre each. Those lines. So I woke up 3 o'clock in the morning, and I thought, what's that under my back? And it was that, and I thought it was a scorpion. So I've got my hand on it. I go, oh God, it's going to bite me, So I jumped out of bed, and I was staying in this house because I'd been in my van for so long. I didn't know where I was, and it was on me. And then I jumped out of bed, and it was on my hand, and it bit me. And I was in the pitch black, and I went into a wardrobe. I went into a wardrobe and was going, biting me, you know. And I never slept in the bed again, So yeah, it's best not to. Merry Xbox.
Salud.
Merry Xbox, everybody. Yes.
Feliz Navidad.
I'm going to get some mulled wine in a minute.
I got some brandy here.
Oh, good. Cheers, Gonzalez. Jane.
Yeah, Bon asked what that thing was because everyone said, Janie just says, show them that horrible thing. It's actually a giant centipede. It's a giant centipede. Yeah. Yeah. Somebody's got the really bad interference coming through.
Yeah, I can't hear.
Colloidal silver.
Oh.
Yeah. That's what I'm drinking, not just water. It's lovely.
This is medicinal.
Oh yeah, I'll be on that later.
Yes, well, you know, I've had to steer away from the pleasures in life. You know, I've been living a very austere existence.
You're becoming a monk now, Mark. Yeah.
Yes, the monastery of the mind. That's
and you will be happy.
I'm always happy, me. I can have a laugh at anything, really.
No, you will have nothing, and you will be happy.
Well, I've got nothing, so I've got to be happy, haven't I? Yes. Yeah.
No stress.
Yes. So, basically, what I think is going to be interesting is the acceleration of all the goals at the same time. You know, the only thing we haven't had for a bit is some terrorism, or as I like to call it, errorism. Because
they did today. They did today.
Yes. It's coming back, is it? Coming in at number 1 this week. Yeah. A
right-wing terrorist. I'm sure it's the UK, but I forgot where exactly. But one happened today, and I thought of you when you said terrorism would be back again.
Yes. Well, they found that baron in Deutschland, didn't they? Somebody has got a really bad connection. I don't know who. Is someone's touching something, or
no moving anything.
I might have to eliminate you. Might have to take you all out one by one.
Not me. No,
I don't think it's you, Janie. I think it's Gonzalo because you're cutting in and out.
Yeah.
I think it's your headphones, and it's yes. Just don't move. You know, like Janie was doing that.
You don't go like that.
Right.
So, if you go into court and you do, yeah, that's really funny. Yeah, but I mean, it's quite an onslaught. You see, I mean, I think the onslaught's quite interesting. And one thing I was talking about the other day was that does time appear to be speeding up to you, but like not just like a little bit, but a lot.
Yes.
It's 2020 especially. It goes really fast. It's like early in the morning. It's like you spend an hour doing something and it's already like 8 p.m. or something like that. Yeah, that's totally true. I noticed that. Yes, it's 2020 actually.
But do you also find that the days don't end? It's like a continuum. Yes. It's almost like a continuum. Do you get that, Janie? Do you see what I mean?
They say that life, our entire life, is just one big second. One big second. But
okay.
Yeah. But what did you say just now before that? Gonzalez, you said something.
It's like it's early in the morning.
No,
and they suddenly say
no, it's in the scriptures, in the Bible, it says towards the end of time the days will be shortened. And that's what's happening.
Revelation, right? Yeah, that's right. Book of Revelations, I think it is. Yeah.
your days will be shortened.
Well, it's something to do with what's happening to the Earth, I think. The magnetic state of the Earth has been falling for a long time. The magnetism's been falling. But the Schumann resonance has been a bit all over the place. And that's been going on since the 80s, I think. Big variations in the Schumann resonance. And what I've noticed is very strange that when I went to Greece, I was there for 3 months. I've come back, I've got this apartment here, and it's almost like that didn't happen.
Oh.
I've got all the memories. I can look at the photographs and I know exactly where I was, and I remember everything about it. But it's almost like it's not there anymore because there's so much happening, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
It could be that, but it's just odd. It's like I don't get any feelings about it. You know, it's almost like I can remember individual things that happened, but and then I can remember exactly what I was doing, what I was thinking. But it's not there as an immediate memory. It's almost like it's almost been wiped away.
Mark, this might have something to do with CERN, you know, when they switched it back on. Apparently, it's interfering with the rings of Saturn. Now, I know this is going a bit...
Okay.
And this is a Christmas party, but apparently in the north of Saturn, that's where the Nephilim are being held. I know it's going way off, but the Nephilim are being held prisoners. No, I know you're going to laugh at me. It's not the red wine. You know, when you read and listen to so much, but I know there's something going on in Saturn, and CERN and Saturn are really connected. And
I don't get that CERN thing at all, you know.
CERN.
I don't really. I've looked into it, but to me, it could be just another distraction.
No, it was.
Do they know what they're doing?
It was originally created for nuclear experiments. But no, they wouldn't have spent all that money. It's 300 foot underground, 300 feet underground.
But why are they telling everybody about it then?
Why are they?
Yeah.
Well, they're not really. There's not, the average person doesn't know about it.
But it's you can find out about it, can't you?
Can. Because they don't care. As I said earlier, they don't care what we know anymore. They really don't. So audacious.
Yeah.
You know, that you mentioned the frequency or the electromagnetic. It's definitely affecting us all to some degree. Sorry,
What's
Madeline?
that, Madeline?
I just want to say that, you know, the feeling what we have, and like nothing happened, and you're just going back to the same kind of state what you've been before you left to Greece. It's the mental abuse what they're doing. This is very much like you are in the personal mental abuse, you know, kind of relationship. You are in this particular bubble, and you're just going. It's around you all the time. So practically, you are all the time in danger. Even if you don't think about it, but they're creating this around you. So that's why you feel like, you know, you've just been somewhere, but you're going back to the same thing what you just left months ago, because everything is just really just going around.
Oh, the propaganda, yeah. But I don't mean that really. It's just that maybe it's because I've been traveling so much. Traveling does that. You know, I used to remember when I'd done, say, 5 gigs in a row, I could never remember where I was the night before, but I could remember where I was a week ago. And then you'd go, and then suddenly it'd come back to you later in the day. You go, oh, I was, you know, so you'd forget because you're doing so much, you're living it so much that it becomes a continuum. So maybe that's what it is. But to me, it seems to be a bit more than that, because I had loads of time to just focus out there, and it is strange living on the road like that, but it wasn't difficult really. I mean, but I don't find that sort of thing difficult anyway, because it's funny actually. You've got there's all these people. You get these older people. They bought motorhomes, right, and they've spent about 70 grand on them. And you see what they're doing. They have these little Facebook groups for it, and they go, "Well, we've pulled into the site. We've hooked up to the electric. We've got the telly on, and they take pictures of the dinner." And you think, "No, this is not what camping's about," you know. Not moving all this shit from your house into a van, plugging it into the electric in a car park next to a pub is not camping, right?
And charging the
we talked about that the other week. Yeah.
Glamping.
Yeah,
It's
incredible.
it's not. Yeah, glamping's when you go somewhere and it's like an event, isn't it? And you just stay
like
in these
like
sort
it
of
used to be.
posh little huts and things like that. Yeah. Well, this is different because
Like it used to be.
they go things like they say, you know, ooh, wild camping, and you think, why do they call it wild camping? I said that on that. I don't want to repeat myself, but it just brought it to mind again. It's like, well, camping's always in the wild, in it. You see what I mean? They've taken away the wild bit, the actual real thing about camping, and now they call it wild camping. You don't go to wild camping, dear, with all those elephants and lions and tigers and leeches everywhere, you know. And this is in somewhere like Hertford, you know.
Yeah.
It's like wild
Play
swimming,
tall.
isn't it?
I love the wild swimming. No, it's just like, oh, get the police down here. What's the matter, sir? There's someone wild swimming. What do you mean wild? Oh, he's going like this. Ah, and he's frightening everybody. He's got a pair of armbands on, and all the kids are freaking out. He's going wild swimming, going like that. You know, it's just like, what? How can you go wild swimming? You know, you're either swimming or you're not.
Yeah.
I mean, I miss the days we
brilliant.
didn't have no internet at all you have was a landline, or the days that you only check your email once or twice a day. I mean, now it's like they can get hold of you anywhere, anytime, basically.
Yeah, it's like you take an album to school and share it. You know, just don't
I
scratch
love
my
that.
copy of Sabotage or I'll kill you. You know, no, I don't want Tales from Topographic Oceans. 4 sides of boredom. You know. Yeah, but I mean, it's quite good, isn't it? Because to be able to actually get away from it is a good idea, definitely.
Yeah.
It's made people very dysfunctional.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you should be able to have a break wherever you are, really, as you know, as we said before, and it's just people just need to learn. This is very important for everyone, just to learn to switch off and really just step outside all this stuff. And you don't have to go camping, you know, wild camping. You just have to really learn to switch off.
Yeah, but it was just the way that terminology's been changed. Because no one would have gone wild camping before, would they? Or wild swimming. I think it was this new ager who brought it up years ago, and I'd never heard of it. And she goes, "Oh, and we're going wild swimming." I thought, "Oh, does that mean it's like they're all going to take substances and all go swimming together and do things or something?" I thought, I've never heard of this, and it just brought up. It was sort of like, I don't know, a bit sort of like a soft version of the Wicker Man or something. Do you know what I mean? It was what are they talking about? You know, wild swimming and wild camping.
It's crazy. You know what always bothers me before that was the moment when they start call everything sexy. And you know, when I heard the first time sexy football, I just for crying out loud.
I've never heard sexy football. When did that happen?
Sexy football. Oh yeah, sexy football. For so many years, and everything becomes sexy. Everything has to be sexy. It's just really stupid.
The dossiers.
Everything else become like that. Yeah.
Remember the dossiers?
Wild swimming and sexy football.
Wild swimming and sexy football. It sounds like something that I would be on the bill with at a holiday camp. Mark windows plus wild swimming and sexy football. You know. Something that the redcoats had put on before you went on to do your act. Something like that.
Battlings and all that, yeah.
I used to do the lower Butlins, the lower versions of, but I did Butlins, Minehead and places like that. And then
I did that one.
We went to these holiday villages in you know, and we used to do it as a trio, you know. And it was you'd turn up. Hopton Holiday Village, I think it was. Hopton Holiday Village. And we did the gig. And I woke up in a caravan full of mold with my girlfriend at the time. And I said, if we keep doing this, I'm going to kill myself. And she said, well, I'll miss you. Rolled over and went back to sleep. But that's what it's like. It completely dehumanizes you doing holiday camps, you know. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Yeah, and the worst one is when you see the Elvis suit on the back of the door. You walk into a dressing room, you go, "Oh no, oh no," and it's always the Vegas jumpsuit, and some big fat bastard comes in, and he's completely bald, and he's got his wig there, and he goes, "See that suit? I said, yeah, got that in Vegas. Yeah, you paid 1,500 quid for it. You paid 1,500 quid for that. Yeah, sequins are sewn by hand. Sequins are sewn by hand, you know." And it was unbelievable. And I think the funniest thing I ever did was it was an Elvis weekend in Mablethorpe. Someone's buzzing again. It was an Elvis weekend in Mablethorpe. And they booked me because I didn't do any Elvis. So I went down to the clubhouse. I was on the Saturday. It was on the Friday night. So I went down the clubhouse. And there's a fella about 18 stone, squeezed into an Elvis jumpsuit with his wig on and his sunglasses. And he's obviously been in the caravan for half an hour trying to get this thing on, going, I'm going to get that over that gut if it kills me. I'm going to get it over that gut. It's going in there. Like that. So he's got down there. The two bouncers are like that. And he's in front of my... So I'm walking in, and the bouncers are going, "You're not coming in dressed like that, mate. You're not coming in here dressed like that." And he goes, "But it's an Elvis weekend." He goes, "Can't dress like Elvis, mate. Go and get changed." Unbelievable, right? And yeah, no one was dressed as Elvis because it's disrespectful, you see. It's disrespectful.
Okay.
Yeah, Elvis convention in Mablethorpe. Yeah.
I
think he was very down to earth, actually. I think that he was very down to earth guy, Elvis, actually.
Well, that's kind of beside the point. I'm talking about some fat bastard impersonating him in a holiday camp, you know. But yeah. Sorry, what were you saying, Janie?
I was going to say, Mark, yeah, that I think that same person you speak of was appearing in our pub. We had a pub that was notoriously there was real what they'd call hard nuts used to come in. They were quite funny actually. And this Elvis, who looked exactly like you were describing, was the Saturday night entertainment. Well, after 5 minutes, they were throwing anything they had in their hand at it. Oh, Mark, you're gone. Oh, they were throwing anything they had in there. It was so funny. He left crying.
Oh, that's terrible.
Anyway,
but,
yeah, no, it was horrible. Actually,
guys,
I had to
I will
console
have to
him in
leave.
the kitchen.
I will have to
took him
leave
out the
you.
back and
I will
Okay.
have to leave you.
wiped his
Unfortunately,
tears.
I have to get
Yes.
taxi home, so I have to leave the party.
Oh, are you at? Oh, right. Okay, you're at the HQ. That's okay. So we were only going to do an hour or so, but you've been on. Yeah, thanks for
An
sticking
hour and a
around.
half.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. Have a very nice Christmas.
So,
Bye.
Cheers. See you in a
Madeline.
bit, Madeline.
Thank-
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, are you going? Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah. She's
Bye,
got an
Madeline.
appointment somewhere.
Oh.
Yes. But that's
Mm.
that is really bringing back memories. All that stuff. Used to, travel around doing that for a long time. And yeah, some of those places
Great.
were terrible, actually.
But it was great experience, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, the thing is though that they were losing 30 pubs a week about 10 years ago. In the UK,
And even now it's far worse, as you know, and music venues, etc., etc.
There's somebody called Firetube says, let's talk about the hotels being taken over by new arrivals.
Well, why they are
Okay.
being doing? What's the solution to that? I mean, the solution to that is knowing why they're doing it.
Yeah.
And if you don't know why they're doing it, then there's no solution, is there? But the point is, it's all about being aware of why that's happening.
Yeah.
It's an infiltration process, and
Absolutely.
if they can infiltrate you, they want to do that as well. So that's the point, isn't it? They can't. It's like people are letting themselves become
Destroy
infiltrated.
something.
Yeah, and they're only going to be used as biological weapons anyway, because they want the public to get outraged about that, so it'll take the mind off something else. You know, that's what this
Yeah.
fake far right stuff's for, isn't it? It's to sort of blame the immigrants. Well, why don't you blame the people who are
Control.
bringing them in? You know,
That's right. Exactly.
There was-
It's simple. Sorry.
Oh, but, yeah, there was that soldier that was saying that a lot of them are trained in Turkey, and they won't be all on at Calais coming across on a boat, but the soldier, you'll see them with their military haircuts, you see them landing at Dover. They infiltrate the groups, and then they come across. It's like a UN army. Everyone's pictures keep fading in and out.
I think it seems okay here.
Okay.
It's okay here.
Yeah, so in other words, he says they're building a UN army for when the proverbial SHIT hits the fan.
Well, the thing is,
the
it's
ones
already hit
knocking
the fan,
door
hasn't it?
Dragging us off to be.
Yeah, I think it's already hit the fan. I mean, the thing is that if they don't get that, they're locked down now. But it's the solutions that matter, and it's the solutions individually that matter. So collectively, this is what they always get into this collectivization and collectivized about everything, and then of course everything's led. So the thing is that focusing on that is not going to be a solution at all. Being aware of it as a possible driver is very useful. But the whole point of the immigration thing is that it's not more biological weapons. So then it becomes like that's what happened when people were trying to talk about that in Ireland. I said, no, don't go on about them. Go on about the reason behind it. Yeah.
Sorry? You okay?
Are you still there?
Yeah, no, Mark's, there's something wrong with mine. You keep all disappearing, and then your voice disappears.
Oh,
So,
right. Might be your connection then. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
it must be. Yeah, my power's low. Go and feed the meter. But yeah, no, I know, Mark. But anyway, my solution, I'm having little rifle practice. I belong to a gym, and they hold rifle practices. So I've been doing that every week. That's my solution. I'm getting really, really good.
That's handy.
Well, this is. I mean, what do you mean? You're not practicing archery?
Oh no, I've got a choice. I've got a choice, but I haven't got the time to do it all. I've got a choice to do archery for the common law. I know what you're referring to. I do watch.
Well, you should do that on a village green every Sunday. You know. and if a policeman stops you, you arrest him for not joining in.
It was a pain during the lockdowns when they closed all the gyms. I mean, it was just how long? A year or months? Yeah.
Well, we had an outdoor gym down here because I live by the sea, thankfully.
Okay.
We got an outdoor gym, and they taped it all up. So I cut the tape and went in, and there was these people all masked up walking by. They shouldn't have been out, but they were, and they were filming me on the camera. So I'm not on Facebook, but I know I must have been on all the local Facebook things. I cut the tape. Not that I needed to cut it. I was making a point. I could have just stepped over it. Oh,
yeah, exactly.
So
I remember that because you were on the beach. It was somebody else streamed it. You were sitting on the beach, and the police came.
Yeah, there was a group of us during the full lockdown. You were permitted to go out for about your daily exercise, right? So there was about 12 of us having a picnic on the beach. We weren't supposed to be together. We're supposed to be 6 meters apart. And so 12 of us on the beach having a lovely picnic in the height of the lockdown. Some nosy bee had phoned up the police and reported us. So all of a sudden, it was so hot that the police actually had little shorts on, not little shorts, but shorts. And they come strolling down the beach. And Mark and Gavin were there that do know a bit about the law or what to say in these instances anyway. And Mark really made me laugh. And because what he does, he asks for the policeman come along and said, what are you doing now? We all started doing jumping jacks as if we were doing our daily exercise. And they knew we were taking the mix. So Mark says to him, well, show us your warrant card. So he got it out, was really frustrated. And Mark really made a point of scrutinising it like that, like just really being annoying, you know, and he put it back in his pocket. Anyway, they said like a few words to them, you know, like it's not law, it's just a regulation, like be on your way. So the police had to just turn around and go away, and they said, "We'll be back." We carried on with that.
Yeah, there'd be no point in them coming back because they'd have to do the same thing again. Yeah, I mean, they didn't really know what to do, I don't think. They'd never had to do that before. So they were a bit clueless as well. But I think it's the same with all that stuff, you know, when this sort of common law thing came out about 15 years ago, they didn't know what to do. So it looked as though we were winning. Do you know what I mean? But it wasn't really. It was just that they didn't know what to do. And they soon got sick of it. And notices were sent around the courts to ignore it all, you know. But yeah, that was something that has never happened before. But obviously, everything moves in a continuum. They're getting used to you being locked down. You've got all these people now who don't want to go out, and they want to work from home. You know,
concerts from home as well, as you know, concerts online, which is crap, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, all right, we're doing this, but it was just a kind of bit of a get together. But it's usually these streams are pretty informative. This is a bit of a different one tonight, just have a bit of a laugh. But the whole point is that it's information focused usually, so that there is a point in it. But actually, just doing something as like a performance on it, it's just terrible, really, isn't it? It's just flat.
It's latency. You can't get on it. You can't get. I mean, live music is beautiful, but they're killing that as well. There's a lot of energy. I saw Bulgarian, an Englishman playing Bulgarian and Serbian music yesterday. They were fantastic. It was all live, but when you see these bands doing backing tracks, it just kills the human feel completely. Basically, it's technocracy at the end of the day, as you know, Mark.
Well, the whole point is that, you know, I mean, these people are joy suckers, basically. They want to take everything, and their idea of what it is something that won't really work. But it's looking, though, a lot of people are acquiescing to that. So it's quite interesting, actually. So in other words, it's like a parting of the waves, you know. It's like the fork in the road. Which way are you going to go? And I'm finding it all really exciting, you know. I'm finding it very interesting, the whole thing. And it shouldn't be taken too seriously, but people have got too much belief invested in the system. They're the ones who've got the problem, aren't they? They're the ones who've got the real problem now, I think.
For many years, that's right.
Well, yeah. Well, authorities never ever affected me. I've always been a rebel since as long as I can remember. Had to leave school at 14. They didn't want to teach me.
Wow.
It was a convent. It was a convent. I wasn't
really
suited. Yeah. The nuns, myself and the nuns were not conducive.
No, those places aren't really good for being in attendance all those years, really. No, not good at all. But I think the education thing is quite an interesting one, because I didn't learn anything at school. There's nothing to learn, really. Once you read and write, what they teach you is complete garbage. It's a complete and utter waste of time. And then you go to university, learn more garbage, and now they don't even teach them anything. That was what Dr. Richard Day said in 1969. People will spend nearly a lifetime in education but not learn anything. So that's why they're in arrested development, because they get to 40 and they haven't done anything. And that's incredible, really, isn't it?
They believe anything they tell them. Totally. I find the working class really, really intelligent, actually. I mean, some people that they never go to a school even, and they really, really got critical thinking, definitely.
Yeah, well, the whole purpose of education is to take that away. It's to control and direct the individual. So it's direct the learning within the individual. So basically, that's in the Principles of Secondary Education, 1918, and now they're just mentoring people into a belief system that isn't even real. So it's got even worse. It's not just about the way they teach things, because the teaching methods are useless anyway most of the time. Because if you strip things down, you could learn them really quickly. But they don't do that, and they spread it all out all over the place. And yeah, I just think what a waste of my time that was. Complete waste of time.
I had a result getting out.
You did. Yeah.
I think all of us.
Well, what I think is I should have just been truant more often. You know, you think, oh, shameful. You know, I was playing truant. You know, with all these renegades. I mean, the thing was that my parents abducted me to North Wales, so there was nothing to do there. So we used to climb up this tree, go down this keep left sign or whatever it was on the other side, you know. And what we're going to do now? Oh, let's go and buy a really unhealthy bun with a load of crap in it. Okay, what we're going to do now? Let's go and set fire to things. You know, let's go on the mountains and set some fires off. Okay, because we haven't got any fireworks. And let's make some bombs out of saltpeter. Or let's harass somebody. You know, this is what kids do, isn't it? And I always thought that was very unproductive. And then you think, well, what else are we going to do? Okay, well, we could go down to the Welsh Nationalist Cafe and listen to Welsh rock records all afternoon. and that, ladies and gentlemen, is actually worse than the UK Colin Christmas party. Yeah.
You haven't been.
Oh my God!
British Legion.
The British Legion. What about
Hayden Island? No, that's. I think it must be worse than your Welsh experience.
I've played at loads of those British Legions. I used to do British Legions all over the place when they had them, and social clubs. Yeah, all sorts of places. But I think those sort of second grade college. Oh, I'm still here. Hang on a minute.
Sorry. Can you see us? Hello.
Yes. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yes, there you are.
Yeah. Yes. I haven't gone anywhere.
All right.
Nuns were great.
My screen. Your way.
Yeah.
Mark?
Yeah. Yes.
Do you mind?
I know it's getting late, love.
I need a glass of red wine now. I either need to take a break and get one. I can't.
Don't get one. Don't get. We'll stay on for a bit longer. We might as well make it another 10 minutes or something. But it was basically just to get people on and, you know, have a bit of fun. That's all it is. You know.
Well, I can either leave.
Just go off and do what you need to do and come back. It's all right. We'll still be here.
Okay. Bye.
Yeah, we're staying. We're in for the long term.
We're in for the long haul. Okay.
Yeah. Some of these comments don't make sense. Is your reason for the immigrants into the hotels just to wind people up?
Oh,
is your reason for? Well, no, they're placing them there for a reason, but it's definitely Agenda 2030. It's called replacement migration. So what they do is they have this idea that because the population, can you stop that buzzing? Whoever it is, I think it's you, Gonzalo.
I don't know. I don't think it's mine.
Yeah, it's you, Gonz. It is you. It is you.
It's not me.
Okay.
Yeah. So mute your mic when you're not speaking. Yeah.
Okay.
Tell your viewer about the Kalergi plan, Count Kalergi.
Yes, well, of course, it was the mixing of the races. But the thing is that the point is that you see, the whole point is to destroy the Western economies. That's the whole point of Agenda 2030. But behind that is something much more sinister. To destroy the Christian nations because they are the appointed enemy of those people. Okay, but that's on a higher level. But the point is that how do you subvert and infiltrate? You bring in people who are not indigenous to the country, who don't have their belief system. Therefore, you create tension and you create insularity. So it's us and them. Because if they were bringing a load of people in who all had the same views and the same background, then that would actually make sense because they would be employed in the same kind of gene pool, if you like, or people who'd been educated in that way. But they're bringing in people without education, and these people aren't refugees. A refugee goes to the next country. I'll tell you another thing. If you want to go anywhere as a white British person, it's really difficult to live in any country now. You can go maybe to Mexico and places like that, but in Bulgaria, really difficult. Very hard to get the D visa before Brexit, not so. So the thing is that these people are being used as biological weapons, but they can be radicalized very easily. They will vote for whoever they think is going to give them what they want. So they're used for multiple fronts, absolute multiple fronts. And of course, if things really go sour, they are going to be trained and they are going to be used as soldiers. And that's what I always thought, that they would bring UN troops onto the streets. And I was saying that 15 years ago, but that's not out of the question. The point is, though, that what's going to be the driver of that and how well are you prepared for it? That's the question, because the question now is about survival. It's not about what can we do. It's nothing to do with what can we do. It's what you can do, because all rights and all actions come from the individual. Collectivism is what they do. Once they've collectivized you, they have disempowered you. And that's what they do. All protest groups are organized to be disempowered. Look what's happened since the COVID thing. We had those stupid rallies in Trafalgar Square. With the exception of one or two people, no one had anything to say. 2 years of energy harvesting, and now what they're doing. They've all turned into common law Malcolms or don't be negatives. Right? Now, those people who are being put into those hotels don't think like that. They've come from somewhere a bit more difficult. They're thinking, okay, what can I get out of this? Because to actually go all that way takes quite a lot. So those people have got more actual kind of resilience than the native population.
Oh yeah, and they are fearless,
and they will go further than the native population, and they will do anything they can to survive. Whereas the host population have been spoiled, and they like to mouth off, but they won't do anything. They love to mouth off in the pub, and they've always done that. All these effing immigrants. It's always been like that in England. They're very ignorant of all that, even though it's meant to be multicultural. But the point is that it's been going on since the 60s. I remember growing up as a kid seeing "Stop Immigration" sprayed all over the bloody walls. Because that was when the first wave of West Indians came over who worked very hard. And they turned into very good British citizens, right? But the thing is, if you're going to bomb the Middle East and take out 7 countries in 5 years, then you bring them country into the host country that's bombed them. A lot of these people are from Syria and places. I know a lot of Syrians, and they're very intelligent. They're much more educated than a lot of British people, right? This is another thing that people underestimate those people as well mentally. They often have a hell of a lot of knowledge. So you can't go, oh, hang on a minute. I preferred this one.
I think it's I just think it's horrible. I mean, we've even got them in our hometown. I haven't, and you've seen what it's like down here, Mark. And so I wrote to our local MP, and I said, look, I'm a vulnerable pensioner, and I've noticed a few of these people, like 6 foot men, all sitting about on the park benches, and and I feel a bit threatened and all this, but he never answered me, because I wanted to know how many he's already put in the local hotels. That's
the point, and they're meant to tell you. But Madeline, who was here earlier, she was trying to find that out, and the local council wouldn't tell them. But by law, they're meant to tell you. They're meant to publish it.
I will try again.
Yes,
Katie,
conquer and divide. That's
recently.
One moment, I'm just going to get a drink, but carry on.
Okay. Sorry, what were you saying?
Sorry, Gonzalo. Jane.
Sorry, what were you saying, Jane? Oh, the glass.
I saw you bring a bottle in, Jane. You brought a bottle.
Come on. Not with pineapple juice, I have.
You lightweight.
I'm just watching Katie Hopkins. She went to Skegness, where some friends of mine live.
Serves her right.
Sorry. She stayed a couple of days in one of these hotels that has not acquiesced.
Gonzalo, you're buzzing again.
There's two of
Okay,
them,
it's okay now.
the Hatters and something else, and she interviewed the owners of these two hotels, because places like Skegness, evidently Skegness is the third most popular seaside resort for for British people to go to, and the people of Skegness, who are almost predominantly, in that tourist industry, they're so proud of their, I might not like it much, but they love their town, and some of them have, have made their whole lives have been devoted to this, and all of the hotels that have been approached by the government to the owners have been offered vast amounts of money to sack their staff,
Yes,
leave their hotel and walk away.
they're destroying the hospitality industry.
Yes,
That's what one of the drivers of COVID was to do that, because all of this stuff is basically what they want to get rid of, and it's all interlinked as part of the plan. That's the point that people Gonzalo, it's still happening. You need to mute your microphone.
Sorry.
Yeah. Because it comes out really loud in these scenes, like definitely. So it's.
Can you hear?
These amateurs.
That's better. That's better. But you need to get yourself sorted out for next time, because we're not having that.
Yeah.
Not having
you
that
got
anymore.
no, Gonzalo.
I mean, this. I'm going to go and
No,
go and watch a one-woman comedy show. Katie Hopkins.
Gonzalo, just mute your mic because I can't hear anything.
Okay, yeah, 1 minute. No.
Right. Okay. Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah. You just take the headphones out, right? So your headphone lead. Yeah. Sorry, Jenny. Go on.
She's trying to highlight this to the rest of the population who aren't necessarily getting this information, because I don't think it's on mainstream media like everything else. It's not being addressed, is it? But evidently young girls in Brighton have been not attacked, but frightened by some of these men approaching them. I don't know if they were attacked.
Yeah, well, it's all a breakdown of everything, isn't it? So it just puts fear around, and then mistrust, and then stirs people up, and it keeps them how they need to be controlled into the next phase of what's going on. So, in other words, the more you terrorize them with this stuff, and the more worried they get, the better for the system, because the system that can then save them from that and say, well, we need more surveillance, we need more security, we need digital IDs because there's so much fraud, and we want everyone to be safe. And all these are just the same drivers. So it all works as one. And that's what I found interesting about the whole thing, is that they use multiple levels of each thing has multiple aims. So there's a divide and rule element. There's an element that they might be used against the host population. There's the element that they're going to misbehave, some of them. There's the element that they may get into criminality. All this is very good for the system. It's pushing. So the more of this stuff that they unleash, the better for their plan. And so that's the thing. I think the trick is not to be getting triggered by it all and reacting against it, because that's a complete waste of time. Katie Hopkins is there as a distraction. She's a distraction. Okay. She's there to wind people up. And she's basically aligned with the other side anyway, if you look at it deeply enough, but most people don't. So basically she's there for a particular reason. So all that stuff that's sort of right wing is all part of it. So it's just another arm of the system of moods. So the Marxists can call them racists, and they can have these pointless and circular arguments that will never go anywhere. Which is what I found out. This is what I found out over the years. It was one of the things that I noticed, that yes, of course, the multiple drivers of change. And most of these people are in it and they don't know. They don't know they're in it.
Yeah.
You see?
They're
Sad.
control.
Well, it's sad
Yeah.
for them. Yeah, definitely.
They've
Remember
been
when
deceived. They've been deceived. Because I think a lot of them think they're doing okay. Oh.
Mark, you
Yeah.
remember when I spoke with Johnny Berlin?
Johnny,
Johnny
yes, I do.
who wrote Gaslighting Gilligan back in the day.
Yes.
Sort of epiphany. He saw all this, playing out. But he thought it was going to lead towards a nuclear attack. And I mean, it could still do. But
yes, yeah.
I said to him, there was a threat that if we were going to, within the West, or certainly, all right, let's talk about the UK, that if there was going to be any sort of pushback from the people, any sort of revolution or whatever, that they would, suggestions were being made that the army would be brought out to quell.
Oh, yeah.
And I said to Johnny, because I was talking to him online, I said, our army wouldn't turn against their own people. And he said, Joan, it won't be our army.
Of course it won't. It'll be them. That's what they're there for as well. Yeah.
Right.
He thought then that it would be the US.
No, it's the UN. It'd be the UN.
Yeah.
And NATO, they're mercenaries. NATO are mercenaries. So this is the thing. People don't understand the notion of mercenary armies.
Yeah.
Because, no, they're not going to use the British army. They're going to use international troops.
Well, they've sent all those abroad, haven't they? The British army, what's left of it.
Yeah, they've all gone.
Yeah.
They've all gone. I mean, there's just they're closing down army barracks, Here in Grantham, we're losing, the army barracks, Prince, whatever it is,
It's all
Same
by
in Spain.
design. All by design. Everything. All of it.
Yeah. But I think it's identifying what these drivers are and working out the system. That's what makes it interesting to me. Because once you know this stuff, then you kind of lose all that need to get triggered by it. In fact, what actually triggers me is the idiots who think they know what they're talking about.
Yes.
The people who think that they've woken up and they know everything. They're the ones who trigger me, not the people who are actually doing it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you fucking idiots,
Yeah, part of the
Yeah, because they couldn't do it if it wasn't for the idiots.
That's right, exactly, and they never get this. I think that in Britain they don't understand counterintelligence at all. They think, they're telling me what I want to hear. We're all going down the court. We've got the crime number, and it's like they keep doing the same old thing again and again and again. And
Spain is far worse, Mark. It's far.
Yes, I know. You've got really bad ones over there, haven't you?
Yeah, you are very, very negative. Don't be so negative. It's not productive to talk about this. That's what they say. It's incredible, right?
No, they're right about that. It isn't productive to talk about it. No, not with them anyway. It's not productive to talk about it at all.
Not with them.
Yeah. But I think that the clarity is the most important thing, and knowing what the drivers are. But it does take a long time, Janie, doesn't it? Because you've been studying this for years, haven't you?
Well, I've been watching.
Well, I meant the other Janie, but you have as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I did have a website about 10 years ago that got professionally hacked because I was talking about everything that a lot of the things that you discussed, Mark. But when I started talking about paedophilia in Westminster, it just completely went. And my web designer said, this is a professional hack. I've got no chance whatsoever of getting it back up for you. And I've never had it since. And it was like 5 years of real hard work put in there. And everything that's coming out today, all these so-called truthers, whatever, everything was there. 5 years of solid work was just disappeared, could never ever be
terrible, that.
Yeah,
I think about that sometimes as well, because I've got such a lot on the website. It is backed up though, hosting company is backed up, but it is all out there. Yeah, I mean, I did have a good website called Land of the Free years ago, and that the fella who had it came down. You know, he had a bit of a rough time, and he couldn't pay it or didn't pay it or something, and then we lost it. But it's still on the Wayback Machine. But yeah, you put so much work into these things, don't you? And that's why I see it going around in circles again. What you going to say, Jane?
Jane wants to talk.
Say something.
Jane.
Because the seat syndrome is a book, essentially. Stop it!
I'm listening.
I sent Mark a copy of this book.
Actually, it's the other finger, wasn't it? That one.
That one. Yeah, no, yeah, that one.
I need to be sensible. Be sensible for a minute. I said right at the start of this show, when the internet goes down, books will survive.
That's right.
Right? And I'm waiting for your
CD.
book, and I will happily take on your book, Janie, if you want to write your book. Because in the seat syndrome, this great big tome that I think most people are using as doorstops, you will find that Dr. Paul Hobday has talked about the paedophilia within
I'll buy one.
Yes, please. I'll send you a copy. I want people to read this book because, believe it or not, way back, you know, I've been on this incredible learning curve. Incredible. And this book helped me because it reminded me of things that people of my age have lived through. Right? All the scandals. Not all of them, but as many of them as we can, you know, as he could possibly fit into this book. And all the scenarios and everything that lead you through from the end of the Second World War right the way through. It mentions Thatcher, yes. It mentions the Falklands and how that was not a false flag, but how that came about. Ronald Reagan wanted Maggie Thatcher. He needed her to get a second term, and her ratings had plummeted after having been brought to power in 1979, 97, or whatever the hell it was. And so they got rid of they got rid of the guy in charge of Argentina and put in their guy and took us all to war. Because that's what the Tories do. They haven't got a new idea. They haven't got a new idea. I say Tories because she happens to be a Tory. They've got no new ideas. So that when all else fails, they take us to war.
Well, that's why we've got to get Morrissey out on tour.
Look at Ukraine.
No, Jane, no. I was happy in the haze of a drunken hour, but heaven knows, you know, no, I'm miserable now, you know.
No, you know, I get so really wound up about the so-called war in Ukraine. Yeah, anyone that's got half a brain, they know it's just a regime change for Russia. Ukraine's being used as like a buffer country for the Western states to get their man out, Putin out, and it's just so frustrating when you can see it, and only a handful of us can. Relatively speaking,
because
I wouldn't like to be surrounded by those sort of people who have those Ukrainian flags on their Facebook page and all that sort of thing.
My next door neighbour
Like
here.
It's just incredible how gullible and stupid they really are.
Yeah. Oh, we've got a few Ukrainian families on this island. It's only a small island. We've got a few here already. Yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
But we need to be writing these books, and when we're all dead and gone, they will still be being read by people who will, because what you would be doing, Janie and Mark, is documenting what we're living through. And on the internet, it's paper thin, gone in a minute. A hacker, right?
Oh yeah, that's very true. I mean, I made that point. Yeah. ages ago, that what will survive. This technocracy is on the internet. When when the internet's not there, it's gone. So there won't be any civilization. That's what will civilization rise again? Because this isn't civilization; it's the end of a civilization.
Yes,
Yeah.
It will collapse.
We're in the end times, and when we're gone, our words, our written form of words, they can be hidden, and they will resurface because, look, they've got rid of the Georgia Guidestones. Just knock them down. Soon,
Oh yeah.
before long, that'll be off Wikipedia. It'll be off everywhere, as if it never existed.
Well, I think that's the nature of everything. Again, it goes back to that thing. Everything's moving so fast, because I did a show on that, actually. I found that very interesting, that documentary about the fella who had all the documents, and he said, oh no, he was a nice bloke, the bloke who built it, so, and he just didn't get it. They were reading out all this stuff and he just didn't get it, and that was fascinating, actually. But again, another distraction in a way.
Yes.
It's an interesting distraction. It's like, well, it says so on the Georgia Guidestones. Yeah,
well,
okay. But now it's gone. So it's sort of.
Well, some people say that they have to tell us what they're doing, and that was.
Well, I think it's consent. Most of it is consent. They have to get your consent to do it.
Yes.
But also, yes, that is part of the thing, because it works in a certain way. Everything on the planet works in a certain way, and they have to adhere to certain rules because they're working in a certain system on the planet. So that system, we've just been through what they're scared of. We know what they're scared of, and we know what they're doing. So then you think, okay, solutions. Because the only thing that's worth talking about is solutions. I mean, we've addressed all that tonight, really. The conspiracy circus. Let's have the next distraction. Oh, pass that one around. Pass that one around. Oh, they're not going to arrest Matt Hancock. Well, we've still got the crime number, and then something else is going to come along, and it's like a little merry-go-round that they all get on, and it's all a complete waste of time.
Yeah, vicious circle. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but just focusing on something. So if you're focusing on a project, then you don't let anything get in your way. And that's one thing that the globalists do. They're not good at anything, but they're just consistent, you see. So if you have to see something through from the beginning to end. Well, that's a good point, Jane. That I have addressed that as well. It's such an important thing that will civilization survive? But I don't really want to be around people who are that dumbed down as these ones of which we speak. So it's like it's the mental thing that's important for me, like the mental challenge and the understanding and being able to be around minds that are actually producing something and doing something useful. Because just waffling on about the same thing all the time, because I've been looking at this for so long, and I was saying that today, it's like, what you've got these grifters who just, this alternative media is just, pass the next bloody pointless meme around, and I'll get that one on my show because they've been on that one. They've been on everyone's show, so we get all them on. Then there's a load of waffle, nothing happens, but they all miss the central point of, well, if you're doing this, where is your information?
Yeah.
What quality of information have you got?
Yes.
You may be talking, but what's behind it? What's the purpose? I was kind of thinking about people like Eustace Mullins, who wrote all this stuff, and there's still stuff of his that I haven't read. So he did this great report on Sigmund Freud, psychoanalysis, the biggest con in history. And that was fascinating. But that was a long time ago. So these people who were there 30, 40 years ago were really good. But everything's deteriorated.
Everything.
Because they don't have books anymore, you see.
No.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So Mullins was an author. He spent all day researching.
Yeah.
He gave you information. He may not have been right 100% on his kind of framing of everything, but all his information was spot on, absolutely eloquent at all times. And he knew that these new ages and these speakers and the Ikes and all that lot was a distraction at best and counterintelligence at worst. because people don't understand that if you're being told what you want to hear and 40% of it's crap, then it's counterintelligence. Because you can get 99% of what you want to hear, and it's the 1% that throws you off that's important. And this is one thing that I always hammer home, because unless something is absolutely spot on and absolutely focused, it's worthless. Absolutely worthless. So I call this thing about this documentary, this died suddenly thing. It's like your greatest hits that you've all seen on the internet. But what did it actually prove? Not a lot. It was very flimsy. It was badly put together. It was sensational. In it, a lot of people waffling. But you have to back that up with evidence, evidence, evidence. There's my 3 bits of evidence. Right, let's move on. Dun, dun, dun. There's my 3 bits of evidence. And that's the thing. It's become wallpaper and it's become infotainment. And that's what someone said to me. He said, I know you don't like infotainment, Mark, but they encourage me to do these sort of shows. And this is, all right, been going on a bit tonight, but it's a Christmassy thing, okay? But the point is that level and quality of information is what you have to have. Everything else is a waste of time now. 25 years ago, maybe not, but now, waste of time. Absolute waste of time. It's like a merry-go-round and you have to get off it. And that I think is really important. You know, it's like the sudden and rapid change of the catastrophism when something. I've had loads of those things happen in my life. It's kind of something that always happens to me. I've had sudden and massive changes, and a lot of people have, you know. But it's something that is inherently useful, because then you realize that nothing is stable. Everything is in a constant state of flux. You can find your way through things, but there is no such thing as security on this planet. Most people have still got to learn that. They can rant and rail against all this stuff they see on television, but they do F all about it. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You give them the actual solution and say, right, we go down there, we do this, you write up that, and then you serve it there, and you do this or you do that. They'll not do it. But they will go to the next conspiracy circus, complete waste of time with their banner, because they don't have to think about that. And that's what it is.
In the West, people, they're far too spoiled, as you know. That's the problem.
Somebody in the chat called Anna the music is saying only small publishing houses can get stuff like that out. She's absolutely right.
Of course, yeah.
There is a place for Strand Publishing in this world at this time. And if there's any truth in the fact that we were born for this time, we chose to come at this time, then I will keep this business of mine afloat as long as I possibly
can. We've got to,
It's very difficult.
What a book that I have discovered, you know, from people like Paul, like Mark, like Johnny Berlin. He's written this book, Gaslighting Gilligan. And I said, when are you going to let me have the manuscript? He said, we haven't. If we survive this, Jane, I'll let you have it then. It's just in PDF form. It's free anywhere if you want to get it.
I think you see, the thing is that we live in this sort of era. They call it mass information, don't? Has Janie gone again?
Mark, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, but you're doing this now.
Yeah, she was looking. I thought she was really serious about what I was saying.
Yeah, that's right. I thought it's like, Janie's really lapping this up.
No, I can't.
I'll try bring it on. I'll put you back in again.
Mark,
yeah, you're frozen. You're frozen up though.
I've been frozen.
But you've got a very concerned.
I don't like being frozen.
You've got a very concerned look on your face. It's like, I'll tell you what it looks like, right? It goes
pensive.
No, hang on a minute. It goes.
No, come on. I hate being frozen, Mark.
Well, it looks like
That money.
I feel like I'm in a straight jacket. I don't
yeah,
like
it looks like
Unfreeze me.
Unfreeze her.
the caption for it is, "Have you got debt? Are you worried? Call us now.
Don't pay your
on
bills.
0800 300 300. Sorted."
Oh, come on, Mark. I'm relying on you. This is like a slow death. I feel
I
really
can't do anything.
claustrophobic.
Don't be
Yeah,
mean.
Make some
Janie.
magic, Mark.
just
Oh.
try.
Ah!
Have you got a plug-in camera, or is it just the computer
I don't know
camera?
what. Mark.
Have you got a
I don't
camera
know
on
what
top, or is it the built-in camera? It's the built-in
It's
one.
a desktop.
Right.
Yeah, built-in
It's a
one.
built-in one. I don't know what's causing it really.
No,
I tried to remove you and then put you back in.
but you can still hear me, yeah?
Yeah. Yes.
Remove me.
Can she not log in like she did originally?
Yeah.
But don't forget, I can still
Maybe
hear
not.
what you're
Okay.
saying.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll remove you and
No.
you log in again.
Yeah, use the link,
Still,
Janie.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll remove you
Use
and then come
what?
back in on. Use the link again and come back in.
Remove me.
Okay. Yes. It's funny though, isn't it, when people freeze up and you're still talking? That's the best one tonight. So I put the article up and it was there for 3 years. Oh,
Yeah,
it's
she was
fantastic.
mesmerized, Mark.
Yeah, I know, but not really.
My Zoom video was doing exactly that, and I spoke to Apple support today, and all of a sudden I'm fine. You know, we sorted it out this afternoon. I was going to come
Right.
on.
Yes. Well, yeah, these things happen, and it's best not to use Wi-Fi. It's best to use the, Ethernet connection for this sort of thing, because that can go a bit wrong. But yeah, I mean, I think we've covered quite a few things there. Really, it was just a bit of fun tonight, and I think Janie's, she's still like that.
She's coming.
Yes, I think she's going to come back into the thing, so that would be good. But yeah, I mean, just check the shows out on the website, because there's a lot of stuff out there, everybody. There's a lot of stuff in that website, which I've started to link more articles together, because every one of them articles has got so much information in. There's a thing called how to oppose LTNs and local councils on the homepage. And it's got links to something called Archons of Community, Big Society Change Agents, and another article, which I linked it to today. But they're kind of essential. So in other words, you can learn so much by just looking at one of those articles, because they've all got the solutions in. And I think that's what I've been trying to say, really.
Do you know
important?
The government have been pinpointing all sorts of new places to become cities.
Can you expand on that a bit?
Yeah. Do you remember that false flag when that Amos MP, Conservative MP Amos, was stabbed to death in Southend?
Well, we don't know it was a false flag.
Well, within no time at all, he had hardly been buried, and Boris was saying that Southend was going to get city status.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, you're making a bit of a leap there.
No.
I mean, is it just because he was killed, you mean?
Dunfermline. No, there's a whole list of new places that are going to have.
Right. Okay. So you link that together. Okay. But so Southend is a town. Now it's going to be a city. So yes, because I think these things are going to be districts. That's the point.
That's right.
So there's going to, yes.
The plan.
Yeah.
What did you call them? Was that?
She's back. Ah, you're there again. Yeah.
Oh.
We can see you. Yes.
Hello, see her.
Yes.
Hello.
We were just talking about these places that are being designated like as new cities. So, in other words, they're going to be huge areas, And these are going to be the human settlement zones that are going to be split into zones. So your human settlement zone will be part of a city, and that'll be part of the 15-minute thing. So they are doing it everywhere. What's interesting about it is what the public reaction is going to be, because this is kind of the end game of Agenda 2030. So interesting to see if they manage to get their acts together over anything, because we've given them the solution in that video, and it does work legally. What's in that video, how to oppose LTNs. But what they seem to be more involved in is just posting all this stuff. I mean, I was talking about this, these people in these groups, because you send me stuff, Gonzalo, and so does Madeline. And I rejoined Telegram just to see how bad it was, and it's appalling. And it's just complete energy harvesting. Because if you're going to plan anything, why would you be putting it on there anyway? Complete waste of time. And that's one of the things that I think really does need to be kind of hammered home, really, to anybody who wants to do something. In other words, if you're going to do something, don't tell anyone in the internet. Just get on with it. It's a complete waste of time, because these big groups are always taken over in the UK. The intelligence services control everything. I mean, I couldn't believe the infiltration, but the infiltration is 10 times more than it was 10 years ago.
Well, it's ridiculous when they go Telegram signal is not, they cannot see, it's not controlled by anyone. But everything, all the internet is controlled. They can see anything. Remember,
why do you think there's so many trolls around? Where do you think the trolls go? The professional ones. They go into Telegram. They go into these groups, these WhatsApp things. They're all. I mean, Facebook was taken over years ago with all that. But the point is that why are people going back to their oppressor for the solution? Why are you using this stuff? It doesn't make any sense at all. Because if you're in an information war, why are you giving them your information? I mean, I'm putting stuff out in shows which is useful, but it's the thing is that it's about strategy. I'm talking about strategy and how things work, like the concept of how it works, because that's the important thing. You can't react against something or have any kind of victory if you don't know the system you're working in, and they don't know the system they're working in.
Yeah.
So that's 90% of the population don't know what system they're under. They still, and then you've got a huge portion of them that thinks it's some party political thing. And that is, again, a complete and utter trap. So the amount of people who actually really know what's going on is probably about 0.5%, something like that.
We are the 99%. It's not.
The 99% is the World Revolutionary Movement. It makes you the 99%. Remember, it's not it's when they say we are the 99%, it means we are their 99%, because they invented the slogan for you.
Even Greta was singing, Greta Thunberg as well, was singing that song as well. So that shows you really how controlled they are. Well,
the least said about that, the better. But her sister played Edith Piaf, in a musical theatre.
Oh,
did you know that?
Oh, wow. No, it's a great singer.
Well, I don't know whether her sister's a great singer, but her sister's called Beata, and she was playing Edith Piaf in something, So they used the autistic little troll for something after all. The most untalented and sour-faced member of the family gets to be famous. That's what the UN are all about, you see. They had another one called Seven Suzuki, who was David Suzuki's daughter in the 90s. She was called Seven Suzuki. So they've always used these kids, haven't they, Janie? They've always used these kids.
Hitler had a girl, didn't he? A little girl.
Oh, but that's the communists did that as well. But if you look at the communist stuff, it's very, very prevalent. They always use the children, and they use the children against the parents. So there's nothing new about that. And the sort of, it's the arguments they put against it. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's sort of it's interesting, because I was looking at a Hope Not Hate video where they were saying that basically, if you listen to things like Windows in the World, or if you started to say question the moon landings, you would be then radicalized on the internet, you see. So if you don't believe the moon landings happened, you're on your way to radicalization. But they never
That's
see
right.
how this radicalization is going to happen. So they say you could be on your way to being in extreme far right, you see, which is what that just means that's far right just means something they don't like, basically, right? They don't want you to know. But then they took on this group of academics in London called Keep Talking. And this is where I go, you see, because I met up. Says this is where the extreme far left meet the extreme far right. But surely that'd be a good thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Get some middle ground going. Say, oh, it's all a load of bollocks. I see. So the left and the right is bollocks. Oh, that's good. We know now. Yes, but it's incredible, all that stuff, because these organisations exist. They have so much money. The NGOs have so much money, you know.
Mark, they have the technology. I mean, we know they've done these tactics in the past, but now they've got the technology to just do what they please with us. And I mean, I know it's going off on a tangent, but these vaccinations, it's been proved now by academics in Switzerland. Sweden. That the DNA, the vaccines actually change your DNA. I mean, they were all calling it conspiracy theory. But just going back to what you were saying about calling everyone right-wing extremists, they're even doing that in New Zealand and Australia right now. Jacinda Ardern and another politician, not the MP, another politician in Australia was saying, if you are giving misinformation out about the vaccine, you've been radicalized, and anyone that knows someone that is talking against the vaccine, then you must please tell the authorities, because we can't do it all on our own.
Of course, it's a communitarian system. It's a communitarian snitch system, which is basically what they did under communism. But this has been a massive infiltration over a long time, because it was happening around 2010 in the UK. It was actually on its way before. I mean, New Labour was all about this stuff, but when they announced the Big Society in 2010, that's when it started to radically change. So these people were put into all public office. So there's nobody in public office who's any good, and so people are stone. I've sent this to every MP. What for? Why would you waste your time doing that? Why? It's a complete and utter waste of time. I mean, what they're doing is it's like gaslighting of highest order now, isn't it? The gaslighting is so extreme.
Yeah, but does everyone get the importance of them changing our DNA? You know about Rudolf Steiner, right? Rudolf Steiner. 100 years ago, there was something I wrote down.
Yeah.
They will eliminate the soul with medicine. 100 years ago. He was talking about vaccines. Amazing man.
Well, it's true though. I mean,
I just really think what.
But the thing is, you see, Janie, they had a choice. They didn't believe they had a choice, but they had a choice. They were given a choice. I didn't get it. Don't think anyone here got it. But that's the point. Whereas that's the test. So those who are going to jump in and do something like that to their own gift that they've been given, what does that tell you about them? Either they give everything away to remote authority with no proof, or there's something wrong with them deeply.
Yes.
There's something wrong with them. So that's the point. And maybe those people who chose to do that are the ones that they're aiming for anyway, first of all, because they basically already given themselves away by doing it, by even thinking of doing that. So yes, it does change the DNA. What's behind it is extremely malevolent on many levels, but like everything they do, it has a level of 1 to 10 or whatever. You see what I mean? So you think, okay, it's for sterilization, it's to get rid of people, it's to change their DNA. You know, these are multiple drivers. Yes, they do want that because they want to destroy the present Western, well, European races. That's the whole point of it all. That was what the Kalergi thing was all. And then the thing is that these are the things that you're not allowed to talk about, you see. So they make it impossible for you to talk about it, but that's the gaslighting. So basically, yes.
Deeper than that, Mark, it's they're destroying the human soul. There's a wonderful speaker.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you entirely.
Anthony
with
Patch.
what they're doing.
You heard of Anthony Patch? Amazing speaker. He's a quantum physician, amazing man. And he said, you know, it's our God-given DNA. And these people have had it changed through the vaccine. They are no longer God's children. It's quite serious.
Pineapple juice.
Quite serious.
Someone just said, Mark's having a beer. No, I'm not.
Wine glass. Fill me up, Jane.
No, I'm not having a beer. I don't mind if other people are drinking on my show, but I certainly wouldn't indulge in something like that.
No, but it's Christmas. It's the Christmas show.
I know. I agree with you, Janie. That's exactly what it is. They wanted to remove the soul. That's what all these idiots like Noah Harari, whatever his name is. That's why they promote idiots like him. He should be sat in the corner with his computer games with a bag of sweets. But no, they promoted him because he's a neurotic, borderline, special needs idiot, right? That's why they promoted him, because he's an idiot. And he thinks it's because he's clever. Yeah, well, the point is that they use them as the front for what they're doing, you see. They justify it to these pseudo-intellectual tosspots who will buy his book, basically. And but everything he says is so far off the mark and ridiculous and retarded that he should just be sat in the corner of the room with a big fucking D on his head, basically, right? Because he's a special needs, neurotic idiot. That's all he is. But once you see them like that, then that's what it is. It's kind of, it's simple. It's not like, it's evil. No, it's just an arsehole. End of, right?
Okay, gone again. She's gone.
Everyone's fate. Everyone's gone.
Hello.
Yeah, Janie.
Oh, you are okay.
Mark, I'm having trouble seeing you all. I might have to go because I don't want to leave you without saying goodbye.
I can see you.
Okay, so
I can see you.
Hello.
Yeah, I can see you. I can see you.
Oh,
I don't
Mark.
think you cannot see us.
Yeah,
right?
I'm here.
Just log out, Amy. Log out and then log back in again.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up in a minute. We have been going on about 2.5 hours, but I'm quite enjoying it. I think people are still enjoying it anyway.
Yeah. Somebody said thank you to me in the chat. I must just find them.
Mark,
yeah, well, we're hitting some good points. Yeah.
Have you noticed how all the people that have the vaccines, I noticed they have changed a lot mentally? Have you noticed
well, this is an important thing. Yes. Tell us a bit about what you've experienced with that.
I'm back.
Well, basically, they are not reasoning. They're becoming like robots at times, Mark. Like,
yes.
Also, you have to repeat things quite a few times so they can get it. And I'm talking about people they got, university degrees, whatever, but they have become like robots actually. And sometimes they repeat the same thing again and again. I noticed
that's a really important point, Gonzalo. Yes. So you're finding that they're repeating things. And are they listening to what you're saying?
No.
That is really weird, and I'll tell you why. A friend of mine knew some nurses up at a hospital in Scotland, and this was about a year ago. And she said that the nurses there were freaking out because the people who'd taken this vaccine, the nurses, they were saying something to them. When they talked to them, they would talk over them. And when they said something to them, they didn't listen. And then they kept repeating what they'd been saying. They just kept repeating something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. or they will get very angry sometimes if you're not agree with them, they lash out straight away as well. People that they wouldn't do it before the vaccine, they were kind of more kind of, it's very odd, it's very strange. Could be some kind of evil spell there, who knows.
Well, there's definitely, like, I agree with Janie what you were saying about the changing of the DNA. Yes, I looked into all that, and it's obviously but the thing is, as I said, it seems to have multiple drivers. It's just not, they're not just all turning into zombies and killing people, you know.
No,
but I think there's different levels of it. It's like that fella at East Anglia University when he looked at the different vaccines, the Moderna, the Pfizer, the Johnson, and he was finding that the bad batches were being released in sequence. So in other words, there would be 3 okay ones, and then he'd put a bad one in. And it would be all the different makes as well, because he was finding that the death spikes, and that never went anywhere, that video. But that was somebody who worked at East Anglia University telling you that. You know.
Yeah, you notice something.
Well,
really odd,
when you know Dr. Mike Yeadon, that was a Pfizer CEO for 15 years. Well, his sister lives down here on the island, and she's a friend of mine. She's also a doctor. And anyway, what made me say that? He's a wonderful, wonderful man. He almost had a breakdown over it. He had to leave England over it. He's now living in Florida for protection. A really lovely man. But he believed his, the establishment. He just went along with everything because he thought vaccines were wonderful. But now he's telling everybody, well, he has been for 2 years, do not take it, do not give it to children.
I've heard him. I've heard him,
Yeah, lovely man.
This
is the thing, you see.
Mark, listen, I'm going to say goodbye. I'll tell you why, because you keep breaking up, and I don't want to go without saying goodbye. So I'm going to say goodbye while I'm still here.
Okay, we're going to wrap up soon. So that's great, Janie. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you. Got so much to talk about. Bloody hell.
It was good.
Anyway, thanks very much. Happy Christmas.
Yeah, cheers, Jenny. Bye.
Yeah,
bye.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. I'm going.
We'll wrap this up soon. But thanks for everyone who's listening out there. I've quite enjoyed it, actually. This is the result of people asking me to do it, basically. But people said it's a good idea. And the thing is that the ones we've done so far have been pretty full of information. But as it's a Christmas Eve one, it started. So there's some good anecdotes that have come out of this, isn't there? I think there's some good anecdotes.
Definitely.
So that's quite good. But there's definitely something about that is affecting behaviour, you know. But people are acting really moronic anyway, aren't they? A lot of them. So it's, I suppose, just an extension of that. Yeah.
They used to be 4, but now it's even worse, basically. But it's like they're not reasoning at all at times, you know. It's like almost as if they become kind of robotic. I don't know what you think, Jane, but I noticed that with the vaccinated, most of them, they have changed a lot,
Well, somebody on here, Dan Mack, says, I think the 2019 flu shot was the start of transhumanism.
Okay.
2009 was where they really tried it out, wasn't it? And it didn't work, so they kind of went into retreat on it. There's a great documentary on that.
Oh, really?
There's a really good documentary on that. 60 minutes it was made out. Yeah, in America. Very, very good. And it showed you that it wasn't working. What they tried to pull didn't work. But therefore, they had this paper that came out called A Safer Future in 2007, and they were trying to implement it. But if you read what it says in A Safer Future, which you can download at windowsontheworld.net on the free books page, it was saying that countries were going to be brought into line so that basically if something was found in a country or planted, or they said it was there, the WHO, World Health Organization, then that country would have to act in accordance with the wishes of every other country. So they brought them into this communitarian system back then. So they'd been practicing this for quite a long time.
Yes.
It's in the documents. You can see it there. So
And-
now what they've done is they've got hold of the whole world through the World Health Organization and the UN, and basically they can now dictate to the governments, and they're openly telling them that that's what they're going to do. Right? Yeah. Sorry, Jenny. Go on.
No, well, exactly. Off the back of climate change and bloody Griselda or whatever her name is.
Well, she's just a puppet. They'll discard her when they don't want her anymore.
But I've watched everything that's come my way. You know, on Facebook, I'm not short of 5,000. You know, my maximum. So people that I've never met have sent me all sorts of things over time.
Gonzalez.
For the most part, I've watched most of it, and actually, at times, wished I hadn't, because once you've seen it, you can't unsee it.
Well, it's an education, you see. I mean, we're on this planet to learn, so it's good.
For me, yes, exactly. In my adult life, in my dotage, than any previous education. And having met you and various other key members, and I can probably name them on one hand, you know, count them on one hand, the people that I can trust. Yeah, I thank you, Mark, for the work you've done, the diligence and the research and everything, because I go from intuition. Female, I would say female, but men have it as well. Intuition. I know when I'm being lied to. But I didn't see all of this subterfuge. I didn't see it coming. I was like a lot of the people we've criticized tonight. You know, why weren't they wake up? I was there. It was me throughout the whole of my life. I was too busy trying to make a living, trying to raise a family, trying to pay my dues, and I didn't get it. And it's only in the last few years. But if that can happen to me, if it can happen to me, that all of a sudden everything lands and you absolutely get it, all the things you've been concerned about, low-level concern throughout your life, in my case, and having gone through all the education system, university as an adult, and thinking that was an eye-opener, and even that's been knocked into, you know, a cocked hat.
Yes. Well, I think this is good, because you see, the thing is that this is part of the catastrophe kind of thing. In other words, like the whole point is, if you go through a series of these events where your whole viewpoint has to change, it means that you are becoming something better, or you are affected by it and you can't deal with it anymore, you see. So the point is that it philosophically, to be able to deal with it and still laugh at it and be on top of it, is really the aim for me, because then you don't get distracted. And like you were saying, the thing is that I was going to stop doing this at times, because it was obvious that the whole of the so-called alternative media is nothing more than an extension of what they call the mainstream media. So then I realized that it's actually there was a very good core audience for the sort of information which is often above the heads of those that are going round and round on the merry-go-round conspiracircus, because they'll always do that. But getting down, I get so really good responses from people from all walks of life in all different countries, and they're really interesting. So that's what keeps me going, because they are contributing. And that little Discord group we've got, people are sending stuff in all the time, and it validates what I'm putting out, because I'm using that as extra information. So in other words, you create a reliable source, and that's what makes it good. But going from one grifter to another and whatever is happening and being put there for your distraction is going backwards. It's deteriorating. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's like how much you're learning from this. And it's, someone just put, you're having an experience. No, you're here. You have a lot of this stuff doesn't mean anything. The whole point is that you are progressing and you are doing something which is useful. Gonzalo's coming back in. But yeah, we lost you there. Did your iPad go off or something?
Can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
Yeah, sorry.
That's better.
Can you
Yeah,
hear
yeah.
me now?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah. 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 Challenge your mindset when you learn something new. Most stuff is hogwash. Yeah, well, basically, I mean, I think it's getting rid of the distraction. It's honing something. It's like editing, isn't it? Edit everything down. Edit everything so that there's no crap there. And that's what I did with that Protocols of Power series. It's just, most people, I find, they are not good at expressing themselves, and vocabulary has disappeared.
Yeah.
So I think that's really important to keep those aspects of civilization going. Otherwise, there's no point having a so-called civilization, because if you've just got a load of remedial type children going around, it's a bit like the Time Machine, H.G. Wells, where he goes, there's the Eloi and the Morlocks, isn't there? And they just sit there passively and don't do anything. That's like the New Agers. The New Agers are the Eloi, what do they call them? That they're like adult children who just sit there indulging themselves in whatever is passing them by. And they are always going to be in a sea which throws them around and tosses them wherever the actual controllers want them to go, because they're not actively doing anything. And there's a big difference between being actively passive and being passively dumb, you see. And that's what, there's a big, and what they did, they fed these people aspects of Eastern religion, like say it happened with the Beatles. I think that was a really good example. They went to see that Maharishi, and it was only Ringo Starr that said this is a con, right? But John Lennon fell for it, and so did that George Harrison, and everyone worships all that stuff. But that was just a bit of social engineering. You know, it was like the whole thing of that Hinduism for Westerners is all part of the New Age. It was all part of Theosophy, really. Quite interesting. But when you see people in arrested development for their whole lives, then that's the result of what they're doing.
I see that where I live.
Yes.
The people around me, and I don't go very far from here unless I go down to Essex to my boat.
Right.
But yeah, even in Essex, arrested development mega in Essex. I mean, I'm a Yorkshire girl, and they call a spade up there.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm in Lincolnshire, and as you go south, further south, it seems to me the problem gets worse and worse.
Yeah, it does, because they're more in a bubble and they're more controlled, and they're more likely to fall for the social engineering, because they all want to be part of a trendy clique. You see, it's very easy to manipulate those sort of people.
Yeah,
and
believe
so
I've recently fallen into not fallen. I've recently had an author, Renee, got his contract with us, and the effort that we put into bringing his book out, and the way he wrote his withdrawal from his contract was like an adult child.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
Spitting
it's
out.
the narcissism, you see. It's the narcissism. They all think that the new age kind of made people go against this. So instead of making it obvious that they were just out for themselves, they
Yes.
pretend that they're not out for themselves, which
Yes.
is even worse, right?
Yes.
That's what the new age does. So,
Well,
so they're incredibly narcissistic and shallow, but
Yes.
they are acting as though they're not.
Yes.
And that is completely a divided personality.
Yeah. I've never witnessed anything like it.
I have. There's a lot of people like that.
Well, there is. You're right, there is. But in terms of my business, I've had two fully grown adult men appear to be having nervous breakdowns and blaming me. And I don't know what to do with them. I don't know how to handle them. I don't know what to do, so I do nothing. I mean, you know, why did they even bring on a publisher to publish their work?
Well, this is the prima donna thing, really, isn't it? I mean, the thing is, though, if there's a lot of people walking around think they've grown up when they actually haven't.
Just infants. In fact, I know more intelligent infants than these people. And one was a teacher, and the other one he went to a garden party with the fucking queen, dead queen. I think that tipped him over the edge, and both of them as husbands. I know I shouldn't be saying this, but we've been going for hours. I'm slightly tipsy now.
Really?
Had to.
How irresponsible.
Look, I know. Had to, had to. Found themselves looking after their elderly mothers, and it just tipped them over the edge. They didn't know what to do. They couldn't handle it. Having to look after their parent. I say you're bloody lucky to have a parent or parents to look after, because I don't. My parents are dead, long dead. And why my fault? Always twice.
It's all right. It's to do with the streaming. Yeah.
So anyway, I shouldn't be saying that. That's I shouldn't have said that, really. But I'll deal with it, because I'm a fully grown adult and I take these things on the chin. It hurts me deeply, but I will not carry it on forward.
Well, I think it's the thing is that I think these times are really good like that, because you can discard these people who are energy harvesting you. And I can't stand that self-indulgent narcissistic crap, because
manifesting
it's people who haven't been through anything.
Yes.
Well, they've never been through anything. I mean, you've got to have a bit of horror and terror and stuff like that. I was joking with somebody actually a couple of years ago, and when the COVID thing was going on, I said, well, just bring on the terror, It's like it's the more terror, bring it on, And because it's not really terror, is it? I mean, the thing is that there's very few situations where you're in that life and death kind of thing. And when people are going on about trivial, irrelevant nonsense, I've become intolerant, which is great, because I was like that when I was about 15. That's bollocks. I'm not doing that. But then I got more tolerant, and now I'm back to how I was then, but better. Do you know what I mean? It's like I've had to block a few from that Discord because they're off topic. They're talking a load of drivel, and they start coming at you with stupid things. I mean, it sounds a bit vague, but basically, when someone's off topic, they're trolling, right? If they don't get what's actually being said, it's a waste of time. Yeah. And if they keep it up, I give them a few chances, then I just get them off. And then people are going, and then what they do always, they've wound you up and talked a load of crap, and then they go for the counter attack. Every time you put a video up on Odyssey, they put a dislike on it straight away. And it's only about 3 people, right? And it's really funny. And then they always put, this person just blocked me. I think he's a bit unbalanced. And I think, Yeah, I am with arseholes. Fuck off. You know, it's great actually, because
Yeah.
I think it's polarized everything. There's no need to be polite with these people anymore. It's about knowledge. You know, if you're going to waste my time, I put 25 years into this.
But
Yeah.
Mark,
I mean,
yeah.
And if you're going to waste my time and basically put drivel down, self-indulgent, narcissistic crap, well, go. I'm not interested.
I know.
I'm interested in those with a brain who've got intensity and power and.
Yeah.
Mark, do you remember? Do you remember when I told you that every time this narcissist lot about New Age and conscious and the ones that follow Russell Brand, if you argue something with them, they get very offended. But you or me, we could explain something very clear in 4 or 5 lines. These guys or these people, they pull like 500 words, and I'm thinking, and they haven't said nothing. It's a lot of word salad, like you said. They haven't explained nothing concrete.
No.
And I go, I wouldn't even have the time to spend my time writing like 500 words there. But it's like they think by writing and writing, they can kind of win your kind of different opinion. It's just stupid.
Well, I think it's they can't express themselves. I think that's what it is. So they go all over the place with a load of drivel, and it's got no discipline. It's got no point. That if you're writing something, you build up to a point, then you go on to the next point.
Yes.
They go drivel, 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 and it's like, what are you doing that for? It's like people send me about 2 pages of stuff, and I go, okay. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what can you say to it?
Yeah, that's right.
You can't say anything to it because they've gone all over the place. They've missed the point. They haven't got to the point in anything they're saying. And I think that's a big part of this ambiguity that's come in with what we were talking about earlier. This ambiguity that they have no fixed idea about anything. That doesn't mean having a fixed opinion. It means that they haven't identified the real issue. And that's why I get rid of people if they start doing that. Because if they keep on shooting these arrows all over the place when you've made a very clear point, then that's trolling and that's gaslighting. So, you know,
they're making life difficult for everyone in the groups, etc. That's why,
And actually, somebody once said something about people listen with a view to reply. So they're not really listening to what you're saying.
That's true.
They've already decided what they are going to say to you. And you listen to me.
That's right.
I have what you've said.
Yeah.
And that happens all the time.
It does. It does. It does. And it's very rare that you get that somebody,
yeah,
right? And they're really listening to you. It's very rare because no, it was that side though, wasn't it? It's like,
I can't do it.
No, you're making a face. You've got to be still.
Oh, sorry. I'm slightly drunk. Oh, hey, stay there. I'm gonna capture that.
I thought you were having it. Actually, for real.
Bookmark. That is going to be the image on the front of your book. Capture it. Save it. Yeah, that one.
That's it. I'm gonna take a photo now. That's it.
Yeah, that's the one. That's definitely the one.
Yeah. Someone's put Myers, but they repeat so much it's boring. Yeah, I mean you can see the program. Yes, you can see the program, but what people tend to do, I find, also is they have this jumbled kind of unfocused, new agey type concept that things are just opinions. Oh, well, that's your opinion. No, I'm giving you a fact.
Yeah.
You're saying it's opinion. So that you're saying it's an opinion, so you can kind of undermine what's been said. No, you don't do it like that. You do it with what they call an argument. An argument isn't people shouting at each other. An argument is a back and forth debate where somebody has to win. Or you both come to the same conclusion and go, actually, we're both wrong. Okay? Because there's a third thing. But they don't do that. They don't do that, do they?
Or they say you are wrong. They say, no, you are wrong.
People force an opinion. Very often I've done that, given force an opinion, and then I'll say, please prove me wrong.
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm inviting them to prove me wrong, and if they can prove me wrong, I will happily back down.
Yeah,
but they never do.
Well, it's like the anthropogenic global warming thing. I mean, this idiot trolled me for ages, and he was a know-all. And he sent me 3 papers which didn't prove anthropogenic global warming. In fact, I read through them and they were laughable. So I gave them to somebody who knew a lot about these sort of experiments. And he said, this is absolute bollocks. He said, if this is the best these bullshitters have got, they've got no argument. But what they would turn around and say is, well, I gave you 3 papers. Yes, but they don't prove anything.
Oh, exactly.
You see. So they'll do that. So it's always a false argument. So the facts never actually get debated at all.
Or have you read the documents? They always say that as well. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, they don't read anything. That's the problem. So this is the major thing, is that they don't actually read anything.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Anyway, I think I'm gonna show up now as well.
Yeah, it's quite late, isn't it? 3 hours. Yeah, I know. Well, that was great, everyone. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it. And I'll do some more. But this was basically a muck around, So I think it's been quite productive and funny in parts. Yeah, had a laugh, haven't we? Great. Okay.
Thank you for inviting me.
Invasion.
Everybody.
We debate everything, and this is part of the brainwashing system. We need to stop debating and focus on facts. Yes, but I'm not talking about that sort of debate. I'm not talking about a contrived debate. I'm talking about 2 people having what you call an argument, which is what you do in court. So, in other words, it's like what they used to do in Greece. Basically, they would relive a crime, and they'd say, "Well, how did it all go?" And then they would assess everything. And that's what I'm talking about. Not a fixed debate, because that is bullshit, But yeah, great, good stuff. Okay, great stream. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope that was useful. Always like things to be useful. So I think Gonzalo is basically he's gone. He's slipped out again. But yes, be seeing you. Yes. Be seeing you. Yes, that was great, actually. I quite enjoyed it. So much longer than I usually do and much less disciplined, but I think it's okay. All right, and Janie, cheers. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye. Night. Merry Christmas.
Merry Xbox, everybody. Merry Xbox. Okay. See you soon. Cheers.